Hello, and welcome to Addicted Like Us, a podcast discussing all things written by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I'm your host, Haley, and today I have Sarah, aka Words with Sarah, with me to talk about Addicted After All, Book 7 in the Addicted series. A quick recap, I'm Haley, a longtime reader and lover of Krista and Becca's work. I'm also a part-time illustrator, and I had the privilege of working on the special edition covers for the Like Us series. Now, I just love to spend my time talking about all of my favorite books, aka anything written by Krista and Becca. And so the Addicted Like Us podcast was created so I could sit down with friends and discuss all of our thoughts. So let me reintroduce you to Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I did the Ricochet episode, and I'm so excited to be back.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you back. We had a good time with Ricochet.
We had such a good time. So much so that we talked about it longer after the podcast ended.
We doubled the talking time. Okay, so a quick warning before we dive into this discussion. Spoiler warning, if you have not read Addicted After All, come back after you have, because we will be spoiling the entire book. Just a recap of what's been going on up to this book. We have met Lily and Lo. Lily is a sex addict. Lo is an alcoholic. They both come from very wealthy families. Lily comes from a soda empire. They're like a competitor to Pepsi.
She's a soda princess?
Yes, she's a soda pop princess.
Sounds so cute.
I know, it does. And Lo, his family owns a baby product company. And so in the last book, we saw Lily and Lo. They've been trying to battle their two addictions, and they were kind of regressing. They had been known to keep secrets from their family. Their family had found out a lot of their secrets and were trying to get them healthier, but Lily and Lo didn't love how invasive and like kind of crossing a few personal boundaries that they wanted to keep in place and feel normal. So they returned to their secretive ways in the last book, but slowly through Thrive, they learned to overcome their addictions. And by the end of the book, we found out that Lily was pregnant, so is Rose, and they have all moved in together into a gated neighborhood. So it's Lily, Lo, Lily's sisters, Rose and Daisy, and then Rose's husband, Connor, and Daisy's boyfriend, Reich, who is also Lo's half-brother. So they're all living in a gated neighborhood in a house together while Rose and Lily are pregnant with their first babies.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Okay, so the Addicted After All synopsis. Two addicts, one epic love story. Prepare for the worst. That's what Lily and Lo try to do when Jonathan Hale schedules an important meeting. The problem? After being swept into the public eye and battling their addictions, they're not sure what the worst is anymore. In a sea of many changes, including Reich and Daisy living with him, Lily realizes that the best part of her fluctuating hormones just might be the worst. Her sex drive is out of control. Lauren knows that she's insatiable, but he's not giving up on her. She's too much a part of him, and as he carries more and more responsibility, some of the people that he loves doubt his resolve. In the conclusion to their love story, Lily and Lo stand side by side to fight one last time for their happily ever after. It feels so horrible to say.
I'm like, we're already at the end.
The conclusion? No. I know there's so much more to their story.
So much. We haven't even gotten to some kind of perfect yet.
We've barely scraped the surface. What are we talking about?
They're just starting out.
Okay, so now we can start talking about Addicted After All, which starts out with Lo and Reich running down the streets of their gated neighborhood one night because
some children,
yes, some shithead teenagers that live in their neighborhood shot paintballs at one of the windows to their house where Lily and Daisy were sitting, and it scared both of them. Daisy more so, which we'll see a little later. But Lo and Reich took off after these shitheads, so they're just chasing them down. It's really, it's special to see at the very beginning, Lo fully comes out and talks about how he's no longer weighed down. We have seen through the entire series. We saw it starting in Addicted to You, and then at the end of Hothouse Flower and Thrive, which is the same timeline, that Lo was finally able to keep up with Reich while he was running, that he was no longer burdened and weighed down. He was stride for stride with his brother. And right now, he is stride for stride with Reich as they chase down these kids.
And
And
he
they
even
catch.
acknowledges that. Like he's like, I can keep up with my brother. Like he's showing himself more compassion than Lauren Hill has ever showed himself. And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he's like, and you see it like later, like when they like catch up to the kids too. He's like Low 2.0.
He is. I know. Lily's the one who assigns, like, she's like, I'm Lily 2.0 or I'm Lily 3.0.
3.0.
But Lo is going through a similar type of evolution. He's just not cute enough to
No, he's
give
more
up.
cynical that he's like, I'm gonna do this. And like, he's more like, I'm gonna do things out of spite still, but like,
Yeah.
that benefit me. I'm gonna prove these people wrong.
Right.
And Lily's like, I'm gonna prove myself, like, I'm gonna prove to myself.
Yeah.
But then they catch these kids.
Yes. They catch one
And
of these kids. All
yeah.
we know is he's a guy in a hoodie. We don't know who it is. We just know he's a
No,
guy in a
we
hoodie,
don't, I know.
and he's
He reminds Lo a lot of himself.
yes, he does. He's
Yeah.
very mouthy to Lo, and we see so much growth in Lo at
Mhm.
this point. A lot in his in his head, where he's like, I could threaten to call the cops on him, but I know that if it were me in this situation, it would just make me angrier, and I'd be
Yeah.
retaliating and being even more of a shithead than I already was. Or I could just let him go. And he also talks about, like, as he's talking to him, he could call him kid and be
Hmm.
super condescending to him, but like
He
he's
was.
still gonna be mean, but
Yeah.
he's not
He
gonna.
he sees something in this kid that he is like, I
Yes.
know how to handle this better than my brother because like
Yeah.
it's like me and this is how like I anything else would make me like would escalate things and he's trying to like
Right.
temper it. And
Yeah.
when Lauren Hale becomes the like voice of reason, the hot temper triad, like
I mean,
a
it's
fun time.
special, but
It's
it's
a
an
fun
interesting
time.
time.
He's like, we're not gonna retaliate. We're not gonna do this. And Reich's
Mm-mm.
like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Like,
So yeah, they tell this kid, like, stop, please don't do this. Daisy has the I can't remember if they call out that it was Daisy in particular,
yeah, they do.
but okay,
Like Reich
Reich
says, my
says
girlfriend has like
PTSD.
PTSD, and like he throws like the paintball gun and it shatters. He's like something. I don't think he said dude, but he was like dude, like kind of like hey, come on, like why'd you throw that? Like that
Come
kind of
on.
thing. Like
Yeah,
that was
whiny.
mine.
Yeah, whiny kid. You broke my toy. But yeah, so Lo lets him go
They
after
try to
they.
be a lot more like rational with like a 17, like an angry 17-year-old than like
Oh my God.
honestly, this kid has no idea what's gonna happen to his life.
He has no idea what pelting that window
He's
has
gonna open
done
up
for
for
the
him.
trajectory of his life at this point.
So
And
like then,
being the one that got caught,
yeah.
like being the slowest of his friends.
And so then like will he really regret this action?
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. So then Connor pulls up
Mhm.
in one of the cars to come collect Lo and Reich. And I don't know, there's just something about seeing the way these guys interact with each other. So,
I was gonna say there is something to like seeing like Connor or Rose like always pull up in a car like in like their giant SUVs and like they just roll down
yes.
their windows and it's just like the cavalry's here.
Yes.
Like
And they're always
there's
so
not even
put
like
together
danger.
too.
Yeah, and like, cause I remember like this is like I've seen in like a later book where like she like drops off like the kids or
Yeah.
whatever, and
Yep.
like I'm just
I know
like,
exactly what scene you're talking about.
yes, you do, and it's just like they're just iconic in a car,
They
and so
are.
like when he like comes up, there's like a shit like a tonal shift where we're like Connor's here, everything's fine,
Yeah.
even if it's not, even if there's not really big danger, it's fine,
Yeah. No.
everything's fine.
He'll take care of it. There is a it's not just his effect with the characters, it's like with readers
Yeah,
too. It just he has that
nothing unfixable can happen if Connor Cobalt is on the scene.
no. definitely not. So he pulls up, Lo gets in the front seat, Reich gets in the back seat, and Connor starts driving away. And there's just something about he's like, you guys shouldn't have chased after these guys. And they're like, well, you didn't see the girls and how they were affected. And Connor was like, "Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
I did see them. And they can tell that
Something
it wasn't
happened.
good. And then like the locks click in the car.
He goes,
And he looks
"Bye."
back towards Reich. He's like, please don't jump out of this vehicle.
He said something to like the effect of like, I have never like had someone injured while I'm driving. Please
Yeah.
don't be the first.
I don't know.
And
There's
that's just
just
like, I'm like, wrong thing to say to Reich because like now Reich's gonna want to jump out of the car regardless.
truly,
Like, put the
he
child
doesn't
lock
want to
on
listen
the
to
windows
Connor.
too. Like he can clearly jump out the window too. Like that's not gonna stop him.
I don't know. It's like, it's not funny because it's clearly like Daisy's not in a good place,
No,
but
but how
also
he
just like
says
the
it.
interaction.
Yeah, like their dynamic is always just entertaining. Their dynamic is like second tier, like second below like Rose and Lowe's interactions. Like whenever they have any kind of banter.
There's, oh, yeah, I love.
The older
And
kids club.
yes, the older kids club is fantastic. We
Hmm.
love them. So we also learn that Jonathan had called and
Right.
demanded that Lo, Reich, Lily, and Daisy attend a meeting. He's called a meeting of the four of them. And they don't know what it's about, but
They're
he
not
wants to.
happy. They're kind of
Yeah,
all stressed because
yeah,
anything to do with Jonathan Hale
right. It's
raises the
like
guard a little.
it's very much I mean, he's a trigger for Lo, so it's keep him
He's,
away.
him and
And
Ryan
then
are
trying to
just
involve the girls
fun.
in it
Yeah.
too. Yeah, bad all around. Low notes at the end of the chapter that because of Lily's sex addiction becoming public and the reality show and that he was recently in the media surrounding these molestation rumors between
Mhm.
him and his dad and that Lily and Rose are pregnant. There's like all of these factors that are just
Sure.
continuing to keep
Yeah.
them in the public eye. He doesn't think that the media frenzy is ever going to go away. And he's kind of wondering, like, where is everyone's limit to this craziness? Because
Oh
it just
boy.
keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. And at some point, they got to snap.
Well, well.
You don't want it to happen, but
We
you want it to stop
You
climbing.
know there's gonna be like a glass ceiling shattering kind of moment where like it just like reaches the top and it comes crashing down. And then it just doesn't stop. Even
Yep.
after.
Yeah. So that is a lovely setting of the tone for this
Hmm.
book.
Well, and also like really for like the rest of the series.
Yes. I would say definitely setting a tone for the rest of the series, even though technically this is the end of the Addicted series,
But
and then the
not
rest
to
is
the
the
end of our
Calloway
universe.
sisters.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you think about it a little more, it's like the things that happen in the next books. And there's a little bit that happens at the end of this one,
Yeah.
but
But then it's also like when you go into like the like a series too, like it's like just really it sets up like not even like the rest of the series, the rest of this universe.
yeah,
Which like in just like a little like way that you don't really like think about.
no. But yeah, I mean, and I think it's something that I don't even know if it's really discussed in this book or if it's like later on. I think it might be in Field of Fire or something like that. But like, yeah, it started the media attention first latched onto them with Lily's sex addiction, but at this
Mhm.
point, it's
It's just
everything they do.
yeah, it's
It
them.
it
It's
it started with it, but
then the
it's
reality
not
show
the only,
kind of
yeah, the
made them.
reality show, Rose and Connor's sex tapes,
Hmm.
um, also Reich being accused of statutory rape with Daisy. Like, there's just so many things that aren't
His
Lily and Lowe
Lopez.
centered
Yeah,
that are just continuing to keep them in the media, and that's just
they
something
never
that
had like a their 15 minutes of fame like never really
no,
crashed because things just kept happening.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, chapter 2, Lily is helping to take care of Daisy because she had a panic attack when the guys shot those paintballs at the house. Because, as Reich said, if you're pointing a gun, something
But someone
that
looks
looks
like a
like a
gun,
gun,
she's gonna think it's a gun.
yeah. So, this is kind of just bringing back all of these horrible, traumatic memories for Daisy. So she's throwing up in one of the bathrooms, and Rose is fuming, as we
Retaliation.
expected. She's like fanning herself too.
Well, there's like a paper fan, and then like Lily's like every once in a while she'll like do it to Daisy.
But I love this because it's Daisy's apologizing for her feelings, and this is like that first moment, one of the first moments where we're really seeing that since Daisy has been able to tell her sisters all of these things that have happened to her that have caused her to have PTSD and her insomnia, a lot of that has been kept secret from her sisters. And it wasn't until Hothouse Flower, which happens like chronologically, that happens right before Addicted After All, even though that was 2 books ago. But now she can be more open with her sisters about her struggles and her feelings. So she's still kind of adjusting to that, where she's apologizing for like, I was overreacting. Like I
She doesn't
didn't
want to
mean.
feel like a burden,
Yeah,
and so
but
she's always like, and but like her sisters like want to be there to take care of her.
yeah, and this is a moment where it's
Yeah.
like, we're 100% here for you. You do not need to be apologizing to us right now. You weren't overreacting at all. Lily's like, I almost peed my pants. Like, that was fucking scary.
Yeah.
You're okay, Daisy. Like, your reaction is okay. This is a valid way to be reacting to this.
And it like yeah, like they just validated her and like it was scary. Like you're
Yeah.
not like overreacting, you're not being dramatic, you are entitled to these feelings and feel them however you need to feel them.
Yeah. It feels nice to finally see that moment where her sisters are just 100%
In
there
the
for her.
know. Yeah.
And not like like Paris was a huge thing, and these are like smaller, like micro moments where they're still gonna be there for her.
Yeah, it's like the aftermath of Paris. And like it's just gonna be like she's gonna go back there like every time now.
They're all
We
here.
all
They're all
live
gonna take care.
together.
Yes, they're all gonna take care of each other and be present in these moments. We also learn that this book happens after the Costa Rica bonus scene that
Mhm.
was at the end of Hot House Flower. So Daisy and Reich have come back from their Costa Rican vacation, and Daisy had a compound fracture. So she's wearing a cast right now, which it kind
Poor
of,
girl.
I know, going through it.
All the physical ailments just but honestly, I think she likes it. Like not like she likes what she does to get it. Like she
Yeah.
doesn't regret them.
No,
No.
the adventures
Yeah.
of that trip, I don't
And then
think
she
she
just has like a fun new story in her arsenal, like
Yeah.
to Daisyify in her like storytelling.
Yeah. The excitement of it all.
And then like
Um,
is it in this chapter or chapter 3? Because I don't remember where chapter 2 breaks where Lily is like cheering herself on because she's not like they're saying like some words that have like some sexual connotations to them like in Lily's mind and she's like I'm not thinking about sex. Oh my gosh, I'm not thinking about sex. Like she's cheering herself on because she's like I'm like go Lily. And I don't know if it was like a big moment, but I remember reading it and being like, "Oh, she sounds so much stronger."
yeah.
Like she sounds so strong.
She has gone through a lot of growth over the course of these books, for sure. We also see that Rose is kind of fuming, and
Leading the charge
so she wants to retaliate and like,
with
let's
toilet
fucking,
paper.
yeah, let's fucking if they're gonna act like goddamn children, then so are we.
I just love that Rose sometimes comes up with the most like teenage boy like retributions because she is so like she's so serious for so much of like the time that when she like really like feeds in that anger where she's like blood oaths and superstitions and TPing.
Yes.
But I love it so much. Like it's one of my favorite parts about her. I'm like, this is it's just so good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when she's like, we should TP that, I was like, yeah,
Yeah, you
do
should.
it.
And that, I think that was where
The
it
boys.
breaks.
Yeah.
Oh, we see this. There was, I thought, one thing to mention. So they should TP the house, but also have a sleepover too, where it's
Yes,
just the
yes, yes,
sisters
yes,
in a
yes.
guest room. And Daisy's like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I should be in the same bed as you guys because I could have a night terror and kick one of you and hurt the babies. And Rose is over here like, you're doing me a favor. And they're like, Rose.
Rose.
So we can still see that despite the fact that in Thrive, she had been struggling because it was supposed to be 35 was when she and Connor were going to start trying to have babies, and this is like 10 years, 9 years early for their plan, and she was so scared to become a mother in Thrive that she wasn't telling Connor what was going on. And she finally told him. We can see she still has those lingering fears. She's
She's
over
still
here.
very fearful.
Yes.
Very fearful.
It has not gone away yet just because
No.
Connor is now involved. Just
No. And
something.
she handles it in a really healthy way of self-deprecation, as one
Yes.
does.
Yes. But I thought that was something to note, just to remember.
No, 'cause it's such a cute moment because she's like, "Let's have a sleepover," and like they're get like Rose needed the sleepover, I think, more than anyone because she was like, that's how she shows up. Like she shows up physically, like
Yeah.
present for her sisters, and so I think that was like, so she really like needed to be like because she wasn't there for it either, so she wanted to like make up for it by being like,
Yeah.
I'll stay with you the rest of the night, and Daisy's like, well, sounds fun, but maybe, and Lily's like, I'll do it if I
Yeah.
have to.
I totally, yeah.
Yeah,
I,
but like
I,
also totally fine not. That's okay too.
whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
So then the guys show up, and we see Lily noticing there's like this new shift, which it's so weird for her to say that there's this new shift because at this point, like, I have fully wrapped my head around the idea of there are three couples.
Hmm.
Um, but
Oh yeah.
this is
Yeah.
actually the first book where we're seeing the three couples all together.
And like
So
Bo has a lot of those moments too. And
yeah,
like I was like, yeah, dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
just this is
I
the
mean,
way it's gonna be.
I know it's
We've
weird,
all
but this is what we want.
Yeah,
This
we've
is
all
what
caught
we
up. You guys need to catch up.
let me get out my crystal ball and show you what's gonna happen. You're gonna be very happy.
Yeah. But Lily notes that there's like, so there's this new shift where it's like guys versus girls now because,
They're all like now like fully entwined with each other's
yeah,
lives.
yeah.
Not that they
It's
weren't before, but there's there's that shift where like there's
there was
more.
a sense of Reich and Daisy were kind of on the outside.
Yeah, they were like the ones that were still hiding things from
Yeah,
like the group. And so then once they opened up, they
yeah.
could all fully integrate in a way that they weren't
Yes.
able to with
Integrate is a good word.
thank you.
So Rose tells them about her retaliation plans,
Mhm.
and
Well, she's like, we should vote.
we were holding a vote
Yeah.
and we were voting to retaliate. And they're like, well, we're here now. And
Well,
what about our votes?
Love's like, we're not gonna do that. And she goes, I'm sorry. That's not like no, we don't live in that kind. I forget the word she used, but it was like a single person democracy basically deciding.
I can't remember because she's like,
Because it's like we're a democracy, and
well,
Connor's
he was like,
like,
you're going to give me a pity vote. And she's
yeah.
like,
She's like, Richard? But because I've said it so many weird ways in my head,
oh,
it's
wait.
not gonna come out
Hang on,
right.
we want to pay these guys. I despise uninformed voters. Girl, same.
Yes. When I saw that, I was like, Rose, a girl after my own heart, as I
Yes.
already knew. It's an autocracy, Crazy. I'm
Autocracy?
talk. Thank you. I knew.
I don't know.
No,
Okay.
it's it's that. I've said it so many weird ways in my head trying to recall it that like I knew I wasn't gonna say it right when it popped up. Yeah, but it's like the one. Yeah. And she's
Mhm.
like, Lauren Hale, do not speak to me. Is basically the underlying of that entire interaction that we had to find
It was worth it.
was. I mean, because
Uh,
like there are so many moments in this book where like they were interacting, like just like Lo and Rose, and I
do
was
you know
laughing
how
so
hard?
hard.
Do you know how hard it was? That was the reason that I was being so slow with these notes is because it was like, you need to
Like,
truly summarize. You cannot be diving so deep into these
but
chapters and writing down all of your favorite interactions.
but like no, you can. I give you permission to because
Okay.
like we've like I didn't even realize until you said like this was the seventh book. I was like, this is 7 books, and like it doesn't feel like
It
this.
doesn't.
It doesn't feel that long. But like
That's what
7 books is a really long like
I
book
know,
to
because I'm
get
sitting here
to.
like, this is the first book where we're getting all of the couples together and like, what are we talking about? My head's been fully, but like, this is the end of the series. So yeah, in
Yeah.
theory, it would,
The old way the series was written,
yeah.
not
But
not the
I'm
way it's
over
like
here like,
now.
there's so much more. There's
There's
so much
so
more to
much
this.
more. And like really if you think about it, this is like the shortest like finale book
Yeah.
too. And then like they just get like longer and longer, and it's glorious.
It is so glorious.
There were so many moments in here too, like not to get like ahead, but like of like I'm not even gonna like it's not even about like what happens later on in this book, but there were so many moments where like it was like a Razy interaction, and like I just had like flashbacks to like Long Way Down, and I'm like, oh my god, I
All of
know.
the callbacks, all of the little Easter eggs that are sprinkled throughout, they're so perfect.
Because then I was like, because I feel like they mentioned like Damaged Like Us in Hot House Flower, right? Or yeah, see,
I
Hot
can't
House.
remember which book has Damaged Like Us in it. They
It's like
Crazy Like Us is in Hot House Flower for sure.
okay, it
Um,
Damaged Like Us is either
it could be in
I
Thrive.
it might be in Thrive because I know it's before this one because I couldn't remember which one I was in exactly, and so I looked at I like searched it in Addicted after all, and it's not in this one.
I must have missed it too, because that would have been perfect to include in the Thrive podcast, but I did not include it. That's great. It's fine.
Well, because I didn't
It
even
has to be because he was like, our kids aren't going to be damaged like us.
yeah
And there would be no reason why he'd be talking about kids unless they already knew about Lily being
yeah
pregnant. So it had to
yeah,
have been that
and
last
like
book.
that is a fear like they both have.
Yeah. Also, in this it's just like, this chapter too is just full of,
Little goodies, just so
it's
many
so great seeing
goodies.
Lily's point of view because she's the one that like really, because she's an introvert and
Mm-hmm.
quiet and socially kind of awkward.
He's the
So she's the one
observer.
that will sit back and observe more than she's like inserting herself into something. She's the perfect person to
I was
sit
gonna
and
say, there's no one I
watch
want
Rose and
to
Connor
observe more.
flirting, watch Reich and Daisy flirting, watch
Well,
what
she's
Lowe's
the biggest
doing.
shipper too. Like she just ships
Yes.
love, and like it. I mean, we see it like for the rest. Like we see it throughout the entire series. We see it in the spinoff, and like there's no one I want to like give a biography of what's going on other
Yes.
than Lily.
Yeah.
Like she's just,
From
she
the
just
perspective of love through Lily's eyes. Yes, 100%. But yeah, so she's just watching all of these interactions that are happening in the bathroom right now. Like
mhm. Yeah,
Reich
they're
goes
all
in
just
to kiss
standing in the
Daisy.
bathroom.
Yeah, they're all in the bathroom right now. Reich's going in to kiss Daisy, and she like pulls away, but it was because she was throwing up.
And Lowe's
Um,
like, Lily would have just kissed me.
yes, I have that written in my book.
And he's like, she's like, no, I
She
wouldn't.
was
He's
like,
like, yeah, I
"Would I do that? Am I
would.
that gross?
And then
I'm
he's
sorry."
she's like, yeah, I probably would have. Yeah, I would have just forgotten. I threw up.
100%. Which kind of a callback to like Addicted to You
Yeah.
because the first chapter, Lo kisses her when they get to the apartment, and she fully lets him kiss her, but she had actually blown some guy that the night before and just didn't tell Lo.
Lily
Yeah, that
was deep in her addictions.
yes. Proven though that yeah, she'd probably do that.
She would probably do that.
Yeah. But at the end of this chapter, they decide that Daisy should be the one to have the final say on
Mhm.
whether they're going to retaliate or let these guys go because this affected her the most. And
It was such like a powerful moment for Daisy too,
yeah,
despite like Rose being like, fine.
yeah. Well, she's like, I don't want to upset anyone. You
Yeah.
won't. Everyone has their own opinions and will respect yours.
Yeah.
Coming from Connor, who's like king of the household,
Yeah.
pretty much, and he's like, yeah, he's laying. It's I don't want to say he's like laying down the law, but
No, but he's giving Daisy that kind of power. Like
the
he's giving.
most the smartest guy in the room is
Yeah.
like 100%. We're
It's
all
like
behind
he's
you.
lending her like Connor power.
Yes, yes,
And
that's
like
perfect.
that's like where like her confidence to answer comes from because she's like, okay, well like if Connor's gonna respect me, then
Yeah,
everyone else will too. Like
yeah.
I won't make the wrong decision just
Which
because this
is
is how I feel.
yeah. So her decision is she doesn't know yet.
Yeah.
She doesn't know if she wants to retaliate, but no to the sleepovers.
Yeah. Which was like when they like was it Rose that brought up that she was like we were talking about having a sleepover and all the guys were like, what? Excuse
Sleepover?
me.
Without us?
In our own beds, you mean? Next with only one other person?
Reich's features darken like an incoming thunderstorm. He obviously would rather her sleep with him. And Rose is like, speak!
I love pregnant Rose. I really do. Like she's just her hormones, as she likes to blame, are heightened, and she never misses.
She's a
Never
different
misses.
creature. No, she is. She's a fierce
She's
creature.
growing her gremlins, and
100%. Yeah.
she's just like, she's she's just a queen. She's like a level up from like a queen. She's like
Yes.
an empress while pregnant because
Yes.
she's so funny.
A goddess.
A goddess.
A goddess to Connor's god. So next chapter, Lily and Lo are waking up the following day. They just had sex, and Lily can tell at this point that like her hormones are messing with her, where it's making her feel she wants to have more sex, and in any other instance this would feel like she's regressing and just
Mhm.
being more compulsive, but it's just because of her hormones that she's
And I
feeling
feel
this way.
like that is such a powerful moment for her to acknowledge.
Yeah.
Even though we see like later on, like they become like a hindrance for her at times. But it's such like a powerful thing to acknowledge like what's like that
That
something inside you
distinction.
isn't wrong, it's because of this reason.
Yeah.
And like that
Or
gives Lily like a lot of power
yes,
that
and
like
control,
yeah.
kind of.
And she's like she can acknowledge and kind of like move on even though she still wants it. She can be like she won't like beat herself up after.
Right.
And she
Yeah.
won't like be like down in like the valley of like her
Having a
addiction.
bad day. Yeah,
Yeah.
low day. But she and Lo afterwards talk about the baby and whether she's felt it move. We don't know what it is yet. That's the other thing. They have
This is the
not, they
first.
have the gender results, but Rose wanted to be there.
Again, I got it. So this is the first scene of the book that I cried. I cried a lot, like for the first 50% because I've only like I stopped at the
Yeah.
50% mark, but I fully cried a couple of times, and this is the first one because I was just like, and like, oh,
I was getting choked up when they were talking a little. Yeah.
well, because okay, we'll get into it, but like I forgot they like already had the names picked out, and
I
so
cried
like,
during Thrive when I shared the names.
and like, oh my, and then when they're like, when he calls the baby Luna, I'm like that broke me. I was like, love, just you wait, just you wait.
I can promise you, Maximoff and Luna, those sound like fantastic names. I think they'd be
They're gonna go to
amazing
fantastic
people.
children. Your worries, you don't have to worry. But there were so many like references when they were talking about because so to back up, they were. I think Lily the first one. Which one asked if they had a preference on the like what the baby
I
was?
don't know who asks, but yeah, so they don't know the gender of the baby
Because they
yet, and
both
they're
he
talking
both
with each other
yeah.
about who wants what. And Lily's the one who shares her answer first, which is that she wants a boy
Yeah.
because she's afraid any daughter of hers would be ridiculed for having a mother as a sex addict, and potentially like if it's
Face it would be a
hereditary
worse
she
than
could be a
yeah.
set.
And
Yeah,
because
she
she
could.
sees how they react to like Daisy and like
Yes.
her addiction, and so she's like it just says like amplifies her fears of like this could be like 10 times worse for like a daughter.
Yes.
And then on the flip side, yeah.
But while they're talking, before he says what
And before
he
Lo
wants,
says yeah.
Lo's like, when girls sleep around, maybe they won't be called sluts and whores.
It was
Maybe they'll be treated like guys. Then no one will care about your addiction. Not enough to harass Luna. I'm just like,
that made me cry.
it makes me cry so much.
Like
Just
I'm just
everybody, please read the Leica series
seriously, please, like
so
you
you
look
know why we're crying over this.
like but like you also look back at the Addicted series with like so much like you get like another rush of joy. Like it fills you with like even more love you have for like the Addicted series when you see them in the like a series, and then like when you go back to read like the books where they like talk about their kids or like anything like that, and then you see them as parents, like it just is like a gut punch where you're like, oh my god, like they would be so proud of themselves. Like Lily and Lo and Addicted After All would be so proud of Lily and Lo and it like Damaged Like Us.
So Lo was also like, he says maybe they won't harass her, and Lily is not so sure about whether people would really change that
Yeah.
much and not harass her, and he's like, I would protect her against the world. Like, I would protect her with my entire being. I'll keep her safe against the world. And it's just,
You
whoa,
do.
I know you do. Like,
You really, really
you are
do.
so adamant in this moment. I can, like, you're making this promise right now, and you don't break that
No, you
promise.
don't. You don't. Donnelly says you don't.
Yeah, so Lily wants a boy, Lo wants a girl because he's afraid of having it's
It's
purely
really
because they're afraid of
interesting.
having the opposite gender.
Yeah, and that their attributes can affect like their own gender of a kid,
Yeah.
which I think like just goes like to show like their fears are so like deep that they don't want to like pass it along to their kids and they don't want to screw up. Like they were
Yeah.
like that their parents screwed up.
Yeah.
And like I think that level of like consideration and care too also just shows like they won't be that way.
No.
And like it's so but and it's like so hard for them to acknowledge because like they are the screw ups and like they're the ones like they're constantly are
Yeah.
referencing like their failures and stuff and like every little positive thing is such like a huge mountaintop for them
Mhm.
of like joy because they're like, oh my god, we like overcame this and like we did this and like to them having to talk for them to talk about their children in this moment, it's like such a sweet and tender moment,
It is.
and it's just, they're
It's
just.
one of my favorites. Just like
I think
listening
also,
to them
yeah,
predict the way that they would react with their future kids, knowing who
how
those
they,
future kids
yeah.
are and how they wind up being parents.
Well,
Just
and just to have like Luna's name on page two is such like a special moment.
I, yeah, before Misfits Like Us came out and I reread the books, I forgot that her name is mentioned in Thrive and I saw them say her name and I was like, oh my God, I'm about to, like, I read these books so long ago and I forgot that
Yeah,
Luna's name is like right here, right now. And now I'm finally gonna get her book. Like, this is years in the
it
making.
really is. Like she, like, and what a journey she goes on.
Yes.
And like, they're just.
Okay, so the chapter ends with a reminder there's still that meeting with Jonathan that they don't
Mhm.
know about, but he is being
It's like the
very,
looming cloud over them.
yes. Yeah. Lo decides that he wants to work out and he goes to find Reich and see if he'll join him. So he knocks on Reich and Daisy's bedroom door, and Reich is clearly very exhausted because Daisy has insomnia, which is just this byproduct of
Her
all
trauma.
of these, yeah, her
Yeah.
trauma that she's been going through. And uh, I think Reich also mentions that she's on her period right now.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, because I think the girls also, she
yeah,
mentions the girls
yes, no, it was,
in
yeah, it
the
was in the
bathroom.
chapter, it
Yeah.
was in the chapter before where
Because
Lily
they,
was like, you should have sex with Reich,
and,
and she's like, I can't because I'm on my period.
and she's like, what do you mean? Like, just,
Just do it in the shower, Lily. But
I
yeah,
mean,
so
fair option.
yeah, so Lowe's suggestion is Reich should just sleep with Daisy and exhaust her, and then she'll go to sleep. And Reich's like,
Again, do it in the shower.
yeah. Reich's like, whatever. Lowe leaves him to it. Like, you should maybe take my advice. Don't take my advice, but like, don't don't come out right now.
Yeah.
So then he continues into the kitchen, and again, it's just so much just different interactions. So Lo comes in to the kitchen. Connor's already in there making breakfast for himself, and Lo wants to work out, so he like lays down on the floor and starts doing crunches, and Connor stands on his legs and is like making like stabilizing him, and they're talking about becoming dads and what gender preferences they have for each other because Connor and Rose also don't know the gender of their baby yet.
This is
And
such a
then
this is such a Connor Cobalt moment.
yes,
He was like, because I want many kids, so I don't care.
yeah,
Who, like,
it
what,
doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna have 7 more kids after
yeah,
this, so
this is just the start. Like it's totally fine. And I love every time he mentions it too, because Rose is like, "Shut up."
no, I can barely get through this first one.
He's like, Richard?
Do not talk to me about more.
Like the quickest way to get Rose to say Connor's full name, Richard, is just for him to mention he wants 8 children.
I'll never get over her being like, "You want me to birth an entire lineage? Like we're trying to support some empire."
And he's like, we are, obviously.
100%. Let's talk about that Cobalt Empire.
Like, actually, like, we're living in one right now. Have I not been more, like, clear? Like, do you need me to be more clear, darling? Like, what is going on?
So then Reich and Daisy come into the kitchen, and Lo realizes that they did not take his advice because that was a little too quick.
He's like,
And
my brother would not be that quick.
but then it turns into this whole thing where like Daisy suddenly realizes that Lo and Reich are talking about sex in
Hmm.
the context of her. Like they
Hmm.
would always talk about having sex, but now she's dating Reich, so yeah, they're going to be talking about her having sex. And when Lo tells Daisy about his idea that she should have sex with Reich to exhaust her, I like it because we're seeing where Reich is truly such an advocate for her,
Hmm.
where no, you didn't want to do this. And she's like, well, but if Lo thinks it's a good idea, then maybe I should. And he's like, no, you don't want it, Lo. Stop telling her these ideas. Like, I'm trying to keep her on, like, I'm
Her
not
voice.
trying to fill her head with all of these extra ideas when she knows
Yeah.
what she wants.
Well, and it's
And
like her entire life she has been told to do like XYZ, be this way, act this way kind of thing that like she really does sometimes like get lost, like her voice gets lost and like the
yeah.
suggestions because like that's how like as a model like you basically are someone else's canvas. And
Hmm.
so like and like you get like critiqued and stuff like that. And so I think it also just shows like Lo does want what's best for like Daisy and like but he'll never know Daisy the way like Reich knows Daisy.
Right. Yeah.
And so like they can suggest all these things for them to do, but like and because like Reich is like they're still like they don't really share like they talk
Yeah.
about sex and stuff, but they don't really he doesn't really share that stuff with anyone because he knows like Daisy doesn't want them to like
Yeah. We can
worry.
see already how
Yeah.
embarrassed she gets just.
Yeah. And so I think like just because like he doesn't like talk about things or like he's like he rebukes like other people's suggestions, that doesn't mean he's not caring.
Right.
And like
Right.
you start like you see that so much more too, like when we get to like further chapters like her birthday and stuff.
Hmm.
But like he knows her so much and he's such a man of action that he's like and he's so protective over her too that like with like when it comes to like this stuff, like he's gonna protect her before like airing it out to his brother and being like, no,
Right.
actually, like this is
Right.
actually why she doesn't want it. Like she's not like it. She has some things going on that like
Yeah.
we find out through the course of the next couple books.
Yes. Yeah. So then Rose and Lily finally arrive in the kitchen and they decide that they're all going to find out what the genders are. And Lo and Lily go first.
Because Rose refuses.
Yes. Yes. But Lo and Lily go first and they find out that they're having a boy. And it's this
It's really
moment
cute.
where Lily is so happy.
Daisy's like takes out her camera to like videotape and narrate it, and she's going around asking everyone like if they think it's gonna be a girl or a boy, and
Mm,
like Wright gives his answer, Connor and Rose give theirs, and then like Lily and Lo give who each other wants.
yes. Yes.
And like
Where,
that's so
yeah, she's
cute. Yeah,
like, I want a girl. And
and
Love's like,
he's
I
like,
want a
oh my
boy.
god, yeah.
Yeah. When they clearly don't. They're very quiet about it. But
But
yeah,
like,
so
yeah, they're so cute, and like they're so just like they're so equal, like in a way, like in that regard too. Like where they're like, well, they're gonna do this for me, so I'm gonna do this for them too. Like they're so like they're such good partners.
they are
And then like
great partners. Yeah.
Lo's the one that reads it, and like Lily can tell by like her like his face like what it is, and like she like tries not to be as excited, and he goes like, no, like be excited, like this is
I
a happy
know.
moment.
It's so hard because he says it's a boy, and Lily like takes the paper and she's looking at it and verifying and like fully seeing, okay, I'm getting my boy.
Yeah,
Um,
she's getting
and
her maxim off.
yes. But Lo is like truly struggling because he wants to be. He didn't get what he wanted, but Lily got what she wanted. And like, he will always be happy.
Yeah. It's like a really weird mix of like he's like happy but still like terrified. And
Yeah.
like cuz he's happy that Lily's happy but he is like I'm gonna be the reason why this kid is
Yeah,
like
and he doesn't want her. He can tell that she's feeling conflicted too because she's happy that she got what she wanted, but she's
she
also sad
wants
because
Lo to get
Lo's
what
not getting what
yeah.
and it's this I like it because Lo is so determined in this moment. Like, I'm not going to take away this happy moment for Lily, and it's almost like he's making up for in Thrive when there was like he was feeling kind of high after Reich had finished his climbs and Lo was finally like sticking to his sobriety. Like he broke it in Paris and he was getting a lot better and he was feeling a lot lighter. And Lily was like, this is a perfect time for me to tell Lo that I'm pregnant. And Lo just like
Was
was,
not
he was,
yeah.
he didn't even sound like he would receive the news very well before she ever said anything. And when she finally tells him, he realized he had backed her into this corner of like, she felt she had
It was like
no
a
way to
villain
be open with
moment.
him about it. And I feel
Yeah.
like this is his moment of like, no, we're not gonna have a repeat of any of those moments where I stuck my foot in my mouth and just like completely took all of Lily's joy away. We're gonna celebrate this. I want her to celebrate this.
And I really like it too because it's kind of like him acknowledging that like he really just feels this way out of fear, but he's not controlled by that fear like he was in past books. Like he
Yeah.
like, and I think it goes back to like the first chapter where he's like, I'm not weighed down by my burdens. And I
Right.
think that was a really important like step for him before he received this news because now like he'll like he starts to like get more and more like into the idea. Like it becomes more
Yeah.
real for him after this.
Yes. For
Like
sure. Yeah. Now
then
that they can put a name to
they
the
know they're not
baby.
Maximoff or Luna.
But meanwhile, so while Lily and Lo are kind of like in their own world celebrating this moment,
My
we
queen.
turn yeah, we turn to look at Rose and Connor who are up next with their gender
Doesn't she like
reveal.
yell at him? Like she starts yelling at him.
She starts yelling at him in French or something
Yeah.
like that. We do kind of understand a little bit of what it is because Reich is translating.
Yeah.
And I was
Our
like, why
favorite
the fuck weren't you
translator.
doing this for us the whole time?
Because he's like, it's never been important before.
But it comes up, yeah, that Rose doesn't feel like even knowing the gender will help her feel prepared
Yeah, like
for having a
she's
baby.
truly, truly terrified.
Yes, so scared.
Like
To the
all of
point
the
where she's about to
information.
light that gender reveal
Oh
on
yeah,
that.
no, she's like, I'm not doing it, Richard. Like I'm not doing it. And then she like just like starts like like going through all the cabinets and everything, and is like, and Connor's like watching her so concerned, and then she like comes out
Pulls
with
out the
like
matches.
matches, and she goes, ha!
And yeah, and Lily and Daisy are like, Rose!
And then she like lights it on fire, and Connor has to like act really fast and like take it from her and throw it in the sink. And she's like, it's a girl. She's like, it's a girl. And he's like, you don't know that? Yes, I do.
Rose. Pregnant
It,
Rose is just.
it would have been really funny though if she did not have a girl and she was so confident.
What are you talking about? We don't know what she's having yet.
This is true. But I just think like how like Connor would react if
I
like
know.
he got it wrong. That would be so funny.
Oh yeah. Yes. So Rose, we're operating under the idea that Rose is having a girl.
Yeah.
Zero clue if she's right or not,
No,
but
we like in this point of the story, we just see Rose declare, by the will of Rose, she could make it happen
she will
by
make it
her
happen.
sheer will alone.
Yes. Screw science and chromosomes and the fact that it's technically the dad
Like,
who
yeah,
contributes the gen. No, Rose is laying down the law,
no,
and
she
Connor's
is
gonna give
like
her a girl.
Connor tells her all the time. They are the two smartest people. Her brain is a weapon. She will use that to her
Yes,
advantage.
she will. Yeah. So Connor like asks for privacy with Rose while she has her moment, and they all leave. And as they do, Daisy says, Maximoff Hale, he's gonna have the coolest parents alive.
Yeah, he will.
And Lo also notes that Daisy's just so supportive in this moment, and he can tell how similar she is to Reich, where even if they're having low moments, they're like both Daisy and Reich are always there to uplift and be happy. for everyone else, and
They go
he
so
can,
hard for the people they love.
yes, and he understands a little more about like
Their
why
relationship.
they've fallen in love with each other.
It's just so weird for Lo. Like I think it's like when in the sense of like when Lo becomes a dad, like not to like keep getting ahead, but like he's like so protective over like, his children that I
Yeah.
think like Daisy is just like a hint of like that elusive older brother who then like realizes he has a little sister and is like, no, no.
Yes.
So I think
Oh
like he
crap.
would have done it with like anyone, but he had legitimate reasons to hate everyone Daisy had been with up until this point.
Yeah, he did.
And like for him, it's just I think it's like he's like it's like my brother and my pseudo sister.
Yeah.
Like this is weird,
Yeah.
especially because like like he is like I mean him and Mike are like known each other for like years now, but it's
Yeah.
still like so like I think like for him he just it's the least weird relationship, but for him it's like seeing like maybe like just two people in your friend group who like have always been like friends and like they get together and then you just kind of stare at them like, oh, yeah, this is
Yeah.
actually happening.
It's like,
And
okay,
then you throw it
fine. I'm at that level where like, yeah, you're definitely dating. Okay, I can wrap my head around that. And then you're starting to see all of these
like
like
why that
different
works.
facets of them, and they're
Mhm.
yeah, okay,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
we just get it
this
on
makes
top
sense.
of Lauren Hale's
And
like
then this,
snark
yes.
and steel, like, which is great.
So, in the next chapter, Lo is currently trying to do his best to keep a pregnant and horny Lily satiated. So they're having sex again, and afterwards, Lily asks if he can stay inside her while she falls asleep, and he's kind of like, I
I
don't think
don't
that.
trust you.
Yeah, is this really such a good idea? And she's like, no, no, I can do it.
I'm not
And
gonna
it's
make
like, she's like, I want to try. And he's like, I can't say no to her. She
yeah.
wants to have this accomplishment, and I am not going to be the person that's going to deny her from like reaching
Milestone.
yeah, some milestone that she wants to achieve. 100% fine. We're going to do
We're
this.
gonna do it.
Um, and he's like, think of a mutant war to distract her.
And she's like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So she does. And then all of a sudden he could tell that she's like getting more aroused. He's like,
And
what
like, he's like, what
happened?
are you thinking of? And she goes, I'm thinking of like their favorite superhero couple.
Yeah, I would think it was Hellion and X-23
Yeah,
having
it was
sex.
Hellion and X-23. And like, she goes, oh, she's so funny. Like,
Where it was, he's like, what are you thinking of? And it was
she's like,
Hellion
Hellion
and
and
X-23
me.
having sex. And then he's like, tell me a little more. And she's like, it's that Freudian slip where like he's thrusting between I mean her. She's 100% just picturing her
Low.
and Lo dressed in
Yeah,
Hellion next to her.
yeah. Just their like normal Halloween costume.
Yes. So then he has sex with her one more time, but then like firmly lays down the law. No, this is it for the night. And it's just, I don't know, it makes me feel like a little better after going through Thrive and all it like
All like the
them kind of
lows.
pushing the boundaries of they regressing.
Yeah.
And I like seeing all of these moments where Lo is just, he's so much stronger now to not enable Lily anymore.
Yeah.
He'll never
He
revert
is
back to that.
no, and he's grown so much and like just like how like we talked about like the first chapter, like how he interacts with situations now are just like such like a grown up approach. And I think it was like even in the chapter I think it was like when like before they revealed the gender that he was like, I'm 24 now. I need to like grow up. And I want like I was like, you're only 24.
I know. Yes, I sit here and I'm like, you feel so much older to
You
me,
know.
and I'm like, oh my God,
I'm like I'm
you're 5
28.
years younger than me,
Yeah. I'm
but
like,
you're
well, what
be
do you mean? Like I'm 28 and I still need to grow up. But I think like that like it's such a pivotal part of like his story arc this book especially
hmm
because he constantly is like I'm not going to break. I can
no.
handle this. Like I
Yes.
can handle this.
He went
And
through
I,
his kind like he crumbled a little
yeah,
bit in that
he had
or
like
a
that
lot of it.
false he had like that false high to where he
Yeah.
thought he could be invincible and then when he hit that low instead of like beating himself up he was like okay actually like I just have to like he was like, that has to be this way for the rest of my life.
Yes. Yeah. I
Like he's
fully
like
agree.
fully committed. And
Yes.
I think that's really powerful. And I also think like the scene like where like Lily is like asking for like it like again. I think
Mm-hmm.
this also is like such a pivotal scene for her too because like she is a sex addict who is pregnant and she has like been told like her libido will be like so much more higher.
Yeah.
And for Lily to be told that, she's like, "What do you mean?" And I think it's just like it's like because like she does like start like this is like when like because she was so strong in like chapter 2 where she's like, "I'm not thinking about this." Go
Right.
Lily, and I think that may have been where she called herself Lily 3.0.
Yeah.
And like I'm like, "You're so cute," and like this is like the start of where it's starting to not be a problem, but it's just starting to like kind of encapsulate her more.
Mm-hmm.
But she's still like like she's still like in the commitment of like fighting it
Yeah.
as the chapters progress, and I think like she just handles it so well
Yeah.
in like
I
Lily's way.
when you start the Addicted series, I have seen people complain that Lily is so whiny when they first start, and I attribute it more to just she's an addict and she's struggling and very low in those first few books. But I think
Yeah.
like once you push through her, there is a tonal difference in her inner monologue, and I think 100 like even
Well, in her actions, like
I
the
don't
way
think
she
it's
like
personally, I don't think it's whiny. I think it's just
no,
someone struggling. But
yeah.
there is a tonal difference, and it's because she has grown, and you can fully hear that tonal difference in this book.
Well, it's also like a trip. Like she, it's like her addictions, and then like she is not a confident person in the
Right.
earlier books. Like,
Not
and
at
she
all.
kind of
She's
like
so
hide.
shy and
She's
awkward.
so shy, and like she has put so much energy of her life into her addiction that like everything else about her kind of took a back burner.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
like everything like and you start to see it even in Ricochet where she's like acknowledging all the things that her addiction had prevented her from doing. And she was like she realized like she hadn't been around Daisy a lot. And so like she's like trying and she's like fighting. And I think out of everyone in this series, even more so than Lo, Lily's like the strongest fighter because she is an addict who like her addiction is like something like that people like get
Don't understand.
well, and that's also like something that people like need in life. Like if
Yeah.
that's like your
Oh,
journey.
yeah. Like sex is a part
Yeah,
of life, and
yeah.
she can't abstain the way Lo will
From alcohol.
completely stay away from alcohol.
And
Yeah.
so like and Lo even says it in I think this chapter where he is like, I'm fully aware that like getting in bed with me is like Lily's version of me cuddling a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he is her whiskey. And I think for her to do that every night and to like listen to those parameters
Yeah.
for her and her addiction, like, and she gets stronger in it. And I think like I haven't like I don't remember it, but I think she's even like she will start to set these like things too.
Yeah. She'll start
And
to
like
set her own boundaries
yeah,
of,
and like she'll start to like have more control over her like compulsions and everything.
yes. Yeah.
And she like so like she to me has always been like the strongest character. And like I've always pitched this series as addicted to you is when you meet them at their rock bottom.
Yeah.
And the entire series is them fighting through their addictions. And so like that's not going to happen in like one book or
100%.
like cuz like really Ricochet like they don't even interact like
No.
from like after like Lily starts therapy until Addicted for now.
Yeah.
And like
No. All of the people who say that, the unkind things of like what she sounds like, I just attribute it to they are people that do not have empathy for someone who is sick. She is sick, and yes, you're going to have to go through seeing her to establish how far she's grown. We have to see her at her lowest moment,
well it's also
and
like
that's
she beats herself up for it too.
yeah,
Like
she
it's
does.
not like she's like this is normal. Like she beats herself up over it.
I also think that again, more so where I was going with
Oh
like
yeah,
her well no with her sex addiction, that like people more understand what an
yeah,
alcoholic
yeah.
is versus a sex addict. And so I think there's also just that idea that people don't like truly do not understand what it means for her to be a sex addict and put themselves in her shoes, where like the media portrays an alcoholic a lot more. So
Yeah, and there's like
they
a
can kind of,
cultural like conversation too of it being a
yeah,
woman instead of a
yeah,
man,
yeah.
where like a man would get like high fived and a
Oh,
woman
yeah.
gets like
Gets called a
called.
slut and a whore. Yeah.
Well, I was even thinking like dirtier, like worse things like that, like people like that, like they the books also get into like what she's called and like all
Yeah.
these like horrible like just
Very degrading.
very degrading. Thank you. I was like struggling for the word.
It's fine. You've okay. So, um, in the next chapter, Lily is truly determined not to think about all the sex that she wants
Mm-hmm.
and how this could be a regression for her. Like, she is really trying to assure herself that this is a normal bodily reaction that any other pregnant woman is going to feel something similar. This is, yeah, she's not regressing. This isn't a speed bump, or it's a little bit of a speed bump
But
in
it's
the
not
mental way that
abnormal.
she's,
Yeah.
yeah, the the way that she has to wrap her head around her addiction, but it's not her taking a step back
No, it's
in
not
her
like she's going
recovery.
from point A to point like D.
Right.
She's like, and she's not blaming herself either, which is I think a really important thing where she's like, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't like want this, like I need to like calm down, like my body needs to stop. She's like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
The doctors told me about this.
Yeah.
It's a normal thing. I am just experiencing what other pregnant women
Yep.
go through. She unfortunately just goes through it on like a more like it's more of a mental game for her. That's like kind of like harder to deal with, but she's healthy enough now in her addiction to recognize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But so it's the next day and in this chapter. So Lo's like gonna take a shower for the day and he's like, Lily, you're gonna take a bath. No, we're not gonna have shower sex together. That's not how this is gonna work. But it's just so cute. The banter. He's like,
They're
how
both
does he
adorable. Like they're like,
he's like, are you my
was this where
I
like,
don't remember bathing with a Lily
oh
Calloway.
yeah,
What
yeah,
did
yeah,
she look like? Brown hair, really tiny boobs, bony
bony
butt.
butt.
You meet the most adorable ass, the cutest boobs, and the prettiest brown hair. She does this thing you wouldn't understand.
It's just
It's
between me
between
and
me and
her.
her. And like through this, she's just like pushing through. Like she's feeling aroused and like putting pressure on her center. And Lo can notice, but like they're kind of reaching a point where it's just Lily put your legs in the bathtub and then
Hmm.
they continue on with their conversation. We're not gonna we're not gonna
We're
get
not
caught
gonna
up
like
in it.
entertain it. We're just going to move
Yeah.
forward.
And then he's like, she does this thing. There it is. Jesus Christ, you're her. And it's she crinkles her nose and she goes, oh my God, I have the you farted face all the time. It's so cute.
I just like how like Lo like sees Lily is always like one of my favorite things in like their books because like he just loves her so much and like he will not let her like anyone like say anything disparaging about her, even herself. Like he's like,
No.
you're beautiful. Like what are you saying?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Like your butt is
All
not
of these
moving.
are fantastic attributes to have.
Yeah.
Don't you discredit them?
Like
Don't you
you're
say
like
bad things about them?
don't say bad things about my Lily.
No.
Yeah.
Lily, don't say bad things about my Lily. Come on. So, that was that chapter really quick. So the next chapter is the day of the meeting with Jonathan. And
Jonathan.
yeah, so it's currently Lily, Reich, and Daisy waiting for Lo to come home. And just really doesn't want Daisy to go. And part of the reason is because she's feeling so bad right now. She has
Mhm.
really bad period cramps. And Lily's like,
It's a
this is
little
lasting.
long.
Yeah, this is a really long period, Daisy. Something just to remember.
File that away in the back of your mind.
Hmm. So then Lo finally comes home from work and they all get in Lo's car, which is a really nice Audi. But Reich really likes this car too.
Yeah, right. Like always tries to drive it.
Yes, Lily says he anytime that he's riding with Lo in this car, he tries really hard to be the one to drive his brother's car. Right, just get
And
yourself
like
a fucking Audi then.
and like she's like, it really like makes me question his love for his car.
Right, yes, he's cheating on his Infinity. That's what she
Yeah.
said. Um, but in this instance, he
Rick
climbs
doesn't
into
even
the back
care.
seat with Daisy, and she's like, "This is proof that he loves Daisy so much more than me. I could be taking pictures of this and posting it on social media, and our publicists just don't understand."
He's like, Reich wouldn't sit in the back with me. He would grumble about my like moaning and like complain. Like he would complain about me, and he's not even like doing that with her. And I love that like Lily is like the biggest like Racy stand. She's like, I can fix this.
Yes, I know what to do. I just need to post about Reich and Daisy and how cute they are.
Don't
Yeah,
worry, Lily. Your time is coming.
it's coming. Don't worry. So they start driving to Jonathan's,
And it
or
should just be an easy drive. And then
it
they find
should
out they
be.
have to go to the country club.
Right. And on their way to the country club, they suddenly get a paparazzi tail.
Soccer mom would drive that way.
No, this is not the last time we will see the paparazzi chasing these characters.
No.
But he's like, I can handle this. He's stressed because he's trying to get them off his ass and he's struggling. And he's like, no, I can totally handle this.
Yeah.
Um,
Like he's not as flustered as maybe he once would have been, but it's still
right.
like not like the most comfortable situation.
Right. But meanwhile, Lily is like really feeling stressed. She's biting her nails and she's like putting her foot to her center and her fingers are like starting to creep down there. And
Lo's like, Lily, put your foot down. She goes, why are you looking at me?
you need to look at the road. But obviously Lo can tell that she's struggling, so he pulls over to the side of the road and he's like, I never mind. I lied. I can't handle this. And he's
Yeah.
like, right, you're gonna drive the car. So they switch, and the paparazzi pull over and take pictures of them as they're
Well, also,
doing
I should
their.
know, like, Reich is excited.
Yes, he's so happy.
He's
And
like,
like,
really? Okay.
if you insist. And also, when they got in the car, Lily and Lo put on Bangarang.
Oh my god.
Um, and Reich
No,
is like,
it's
my
the
ears
way,
are bleeding.
no, it's also the way Lily describes it.
Bad taste in music.
No, no. She is like, I'm putting on the greatest piece of music ever in the history of. And then it just cuts to Skrillex Bangarang, and I just lost it. And then doesn't she ask, like Reich had a moment of being like, I really hope your shitty music taste doesn't rub off on your kid or my ears are gonna bleed. And I'm
Yes.
like,
Oh, just you
well,
wait.
oil.
But yeah, so that happened when they got in the car. So then when they switch and Reich gets to be the driver and Daisy's in the
They
passenger
stopped the
seat, she
greatest
pulls up the
music.
phone and they're putting on their music.
They stopped the greatest masterpiece ever composed.
Yeah.
Big
So
Bang.
yeah.
Well, and then because like Lily, it should also be noted that like Lily is starting to like struggle a little bit with like Reich and Daisy's PDA,
Yes.
and so like Daisy has to go in like Reich's like front pocket.
Yeah, she sticks her hand
Like,
in
and
his
she
front
goes, she
pocket. She's
gets
like,
really
where is he
deep in
going?
there. And she goes, I can't be the only one, like, seeing this, right? And, like, Reich's on his phone, like, texting, I think, Jonathan, like Reich's driving, and
Yeah.
Daisy's, like, digging in the pocket, and she's like, excuse me, we weren't like on the side of the road. And then she just, like, puts on music, and, like, Lily's like, this must be a Reich song, because it's sad and depressing.
Daisy listens to the happier stuff besides
Yeah,
to be
more upbeat,
sad
happy
for
music.
Reich.
Reich's the sad one.
Yes. And also Daisy pulls up an app and she's like, there are no cops within 20 miles because these two fucking speedsters are like, we're
They
keeping
call
an eye out.
Lily's like, how do you know? And she goes, it's an app, and like Love's like fucking Bonnie and Clyde over here.
I'm gonna bring this up in his books, but like, where the fuck was this app with Maximoff? Like, fucking come on. It should have been more advanced by the time he was driving.
Hover cars.
But yeah, so Reich is a true speedster and he's like zipping.
Wee! No,
Yeah,
not
he's
even
zipping through
he's like
traffic.
driving like this. Lily's like, he's driving with one hand. You're going really
And then there's a
fast.
point where like he can't lose him, so he like does like a full U-turn and loses them. And while he's being so crazy and you're so stressed and you're like, oh, okay, fine. They lost the tail and then bang, they get in a
Well,
car accident because
before like they get to there, like Lily is like the perfect person to like narrate this scene because she's like she gets more nervous and nervous as he's like driving.
yeah,
She's like, I don't
yeah,
want
they're like, please don't kill us.
like
I'm
please, I have an unborn
too young
child.
to die.
And then they like then like Reich like literally like drives across the median onto like say okay let's just pretend they're going northbound so he drives over the median to go on the southbound lane of the highway
Yeah.
and when he
Yes.
gets off the exit like
They're just trying to get in or they're in their lane and it's another car that's
they
making a
just
lane
like
change.
yeah I don't like T-bone them or like literally
I think he
smash them.
just like hits them on their side. I don't know if he
Yeah, he
just
hits the driver's side so Reich and Lowe get
yeah.
like it and then like they pull over to like a gas station
Yeah.
because like Reich's like the car's driving funny and like
Yeah, the car is
he's
fucked at
bent.
this point. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like a
Um
Tahoe or something like in like this Audi like
yeah, and
not-
the like the airbags deployed and everything. So,
mhm. And then
not a
Lily
good accident.
well and then Lily feels something between her legs and she like
Hmm.
doesn't know if it's pee or
It's wet.
blood.
Yeah, there's something
Yeah.
wet between her legs and
And they start
yeah,
to
she
worry
could have
about
peed
the
her
baby.
pants.
Yeah.
So she and Lo check and it is blood. And then meanwhile, Daisy is Reich is trying to get Daisy's attention because she's totally out of it, and
Yeah.
this is triggering something in
Yeah.
her. She's having a panic attack, and Lily is
Like
bleeding.
also on the verge of a panic attack because her baby.
So they call an ambulance,
Hmm.
and into the next chapter, they're at the hospital now, and they're waiting for someone to come check on Lily and the baby, and
Reich
it's
is just distraught.
Reich is yeah, it was Reich has apologized 100 times, one time for
For the
the
car
Audi
accident.
and 99
Yeah.
times for Lily.
Yeah. And Lowe's like, it's not your fault. Like you weren't he was I was speeding. He goes, you've slowed down so much by then.
Yes.
And Daisy is not in the room with them because Daisy got taken away for like a psych eval.
Yeah, so Reich's also stressed about that. And then
Yeah.
we're in Lowe's point of view for this chapter and we're seeing him in his head. He's like he is actually feeling this true sense of dread where they don't know what's going
Yeah.
on with the baby at this point and
This is
he'll
like his
actually
first
be
like big
really
dad
devastated
moment.
if they wind up losing the baby right now. Like
Yeah.
and he recognizes that like oh crap, at this point I do want this kid. I didn't at one
Yeah.
point, but now this is going to
Like
really hurt.
yeah, like he's like, I want this kid and I want him to be healthy and okay. And
Yeah.
like I said, it's like those big like it's like his first big dad moment where he's like, I need to protect my kid.
Yeah. And I can't remember when he starts talking about, but like he really I want to say it's probably in the chapter where they learn that that it's Maximoff, that it's a boy, that like Maximoff will be half him, but he'll also be half Lily. And there's always some part of him that's like he will never eliminate any part of Lily from the world, and Maximoff is going to be part
Yeah.
of Lily too. So he'll always like protect that bit and want
Yeah.
Maximoff, want any child between him and Lily because it'll be Lily, and yeah. But
The
anyway,
world more lilies in the world.
yeah, always. But anyway, in the hospital room, Lily's so upset because she's never felt him kick at this point, and she
Hmm.
really
And
wants
she's
him
like,
to
I
kick.
want like she was like, I can't feel him. Like I don't feel him. And Love's like, you've never felt him. And she was
Right.
like, I just
It
want
would
him
be
to know
more
he's
reassuring.
okay.
Yeah. And there's a part where
Then
she's
like
like, I,
Lowe's well and like Lowe's says something and like it makes it like he just like from stress and everything. I forget what exactly how he said it. It was something like you've never felt the baby kick, Lily. It doesn't mean the baby's dead or
yes.
something.
Yeah. It was something like
And
that.
like Reich is still in the chair like distraught, like so upset that he like potentially is responsible for like his nephew. And then like Lily starts crying. Reich leaves and Lowe's like, "Oh my god." Like he's like beating himself up about that. And then Reich comes back with like the doctor.
And Lo's
And Lowe's
like,
like, "You look a little young to
oh,
be a
he
doctor."
comes back. And the doctor's arrived. And he's like, Reich was 100% just going off to find the doctor. That's what just happened here.
Yeah. Well,
Because
also
Lo
like
was
it's
dead.
totally a Reich thing to do is like he would go down in the hall and be like, "I need it. Like give me a fucking
Yeah. Where's the
doctor."
fucking person to come talk
Like he would
with Lily
growl
right
at
now?
whoever he saw who was not a doctor and be like, "Point me
Yeah.
to the doctor."
Anybody who's a doctor that's not doing anything right now, you're fucking coming with me.
Yeah, and he would like. I'm surprised he didn't pull him in by like his coat.
Yes. But yeah, so the doctor comes in. He has fucking horrible bedside manner
Oh my god, he's a
and
total dick.
such a dick. And
Like,
he's
first of
like,
all,
and
it's not
he's
even
not even
bedside manner.
ashamed about it because Reich
No,
calls him
and like,
out and he's like, yeah, I do.
well, and
Fuck
it's also
you.
like I don't know any doctor that would ask that. Like that feels like a HIPAA violation of some sort. It's not, but it feels like one.
The doctor asks Lily if she knows who
Oh,
the
who's
dad
that?
is and
Yeah.
whether she wants paternity tests, even
And
though
Love's
she
like,
says with confidence that Lo is the father. Like,
we
no.
don't want a fucking test. I just want to know if my kid's alive. Like, what's wrong with you?
Right. Yeah, we don't know if my child is alive right now and you
And you're
want
asking me this fucking question? Like, get out of here.
yeah. So he does finally check on Lily and we hear a heartbeat, so we know Max Muff's
Baby's
still doing
okay.
okay in there. He's still fine.
Tough little cookie.
Yes. Um, and then okay, so yeah, Lo thinks to himself like, I want him. Goddamn, I want this kid more than I've wanted a lot of things in life, and I know it's because he's a part of us. So it's like yeah,
My
this is
God.
like his big dad moment where he's like, I'm gonna protect this kid. Will have. I'm determined that this kid is gonna have the best parts of us. He's not gonna. He has the potential to have the worst parts of us, but I'm not gonna let that be the case. He's gonna have the
Yeah.
best parts of both of us, and I'm gonna love him with my entire heart, and I'm gonna protect him.
Yeah,
Um,
you will, Lo.
yeah. Lily is surprised that she's like, "You're relieved right now," because at one point he didn't want a kid, and he's like, "No, I'm happy."
Oh, no.
And then
And
Daisy
Daisy.
comes back from her psych eval. She's like, "I'm pregnant." Read the room.
And they're all
Yeah.
like, no. Well,
No.
she's like, I'm pregnant. She does a bow, and they're all like, shut up.
Yeah.
They're like, not the
And
time. She goes, oh, I must be in the wrong room. I was looking for the boyfriend that would find that funny. He goes, I've almost had 5 heart attacks in the last like hour. Please stop.
he's like, "Then I'm not your boyfriend because
Boyfriend.
I wouldn't have found that funny." But she has to take new meds. The doctors have put her on new medication to help with her anxiety. And then again, chapter ends with a text from Jonathan being like, "At this point, I don't care about the meeting. Just tell me whether my grandson is still alive."
Yeah.
Which is just it's weird to see him be so
Well,
caring about this.
it's also
But
I forgot that Jonathan got sober.
yeah, yes,
Like, and
Jonathan is trying to be sober at this point.
yeah, he's like 4 months sober. And so it's really interesting to see like this side of Jonathan.
Yeah.
And I do like Jonathan caring about his grandchild.
Yes, I think it's sweet
Yeah.
that at least he has some caring bone in his body for
Yeah.
this child that he hasn't even met yet, but
Yeah.
he is like ready to love him wholeheartedly. Still have my conflicting feelings about Jonathan, but
Still
yeah.
don't like Jonathan, but it's an interesting note.
Yes. Yes, that's basically where I was going when I wrote that note. So then, the next chapter, Lo has come back from the grocery store after buying Lily some food for her pregnancy cravings. I think she wanted
apples and
icing.
apples and cream cheese icing.
Honestly, that sounds pretty good.
That does sound really good. A lot better than her mint ice cream, mint chocolate chip ice cream and goldfish, or whatever that concoction was that she was
Yeah.
eating. And like
I
Lo
mean, I
was
guess
like, that sounds disgusting.
yeah. We'll pass on that. I'll take all the cream cheese icing. That's freaking
Yeah.
delicious.
With some
Um,
apples, maybe get some caramel sauce. I'm not pregnant, but that sounds amazing.
so then all of a sudden, this object comes flying through their bedroom window. And Lo goes to grab it, and as he's like by the window, he can hear these fucking neighborhood shitheads are the ones responsible for this. And he sees that there's a note attached to this brick that they fucking threw through their window. Yes. He makes eye contact with a guy in a hoodie.
Yeah.
But there's a horrible note that they have written attached to this
Oh my god,
brick.
so vile. They're so vile.
We're not going to repeat it.
Nope.
And Reich comes in to check on on them and
He
see
heard the
what.
noise, and so he
Yeah, he
comes
wants.
running.
And Lo hands him the brick and the note, and Reich reads it, and he's like, "This, they can't treat us like this."
He's ready to go TP their house with Rose.
Yes, but Lo says, "I don't need Reich to threaten these guys on my behalf. I have a louder voice than him anyway. I've always been capable of lashing out. This is the route I've never taken before. Wait and see. Be calm. Try to put my emotions aside to find the better option." Like, oh my God, Lauren
He's
Hale, look
You've
at
just
you.
grown so much from pig's blood to this.
I know, especially considering what this, because yeah, the pig's blood, there was a cruel note about Lily,
Mm-hmm.
and that was why he went and put
Pig's
pig's
blood.
blood on that guy's door.
He's
And
really just.
similar sentiment with this, and he's like, no, we're gonna wait and see. I'm
He's
gonna be the bigger
slowly
person.
becoming dad version of Lauren Hale. Like he's like cool, calm, and collected. Still part of
And
the heart
that's
of the dragon.
100% it too. There's
Yeah.
like Lauren Hale pre-dad and then Lauren Hale dad. And I know
Mhm.
Lauren Hale dad, like there's just so much more Lauren Hale dad that exists in this addicted universe that I'm
Yeah.
always like, I love when we reach this point.
Well, because it's also like it's a pretty like nice split of like I know it's like technically book seven, but like books like seven, eight, nine, and then some kind of perfect like 10. They're so long that like it's such like you get so much dad content of like low.
There's a lot of dad content that we
Yeah.
get.
And I think it's like it's just it's so interesting because like there are so many books that we don't get that much content from the characters after they have kids and like where they're still like the central character.
Yeah.
And it's so just rewarding. Like it's so fun to see. And I think about that all the time with the series. Like you like there's so much payoff for like the
Hmm.
readers. And like it is a long series, but it's you get so much payoff. In like each book, like you get a lot of payoff.
Yeah,
And
you
then
do.
like by the time like I mean that's why like Some Kind of Perfect is like untouchable to me. Like I love that book with my entire being and like I have not read it since I first read it because it makes me cry so much because I'm like they went through so much
They did.
for this moment. And like for like Lo to come to like this moment where he's like I'm going to take the high road
Yeah.
over something that he easily could have been like you're done.
Yeah.
Like Lauren Hale
King of
is coming up.
Emperor of Petty
Yeah,
with
like
all of the connections in the world. Like,
I
yeah,
will
he could
destroy you
easily
for my
fuck them up.
enjoyment. Like he is like,
Wait and
it's
see.
fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the
I
bigger
will.
person.
I'll just handle this another way. And like, ugh, it's just so wonderful to see.
It is. So the next chapter, Rose is super upset that they never heard about the car accident.
Oh my god, this. Excuse
And
me.
they're so in this chapter they're currently baking cookies because Poppy's daughter Maria needs baked goods for a school bake sale.
And Rose wants to go buy them at Whole Foods.
She's like, Whole Foods sells this exact cookie. Why are
And
we making this?
and like Lo is like decorating gingerbread men with frowns because they were being too happy. And like he wanted them to match it.
Oh, good. And so the the most important part is Rose is like, Maria is doing this to us on purpose. And they're like, you really think this
She's
small child
sick.
You really think this small child is so evil and working against you? And she goes, all kids are devils in disguise. And apparently, I'm the only one who sees them for what they really are, small, tiny gremlins. This is the first
Honestly,
time.
I know exactly, hypothetically speaking, because we're not there yet, but like of which like child, which gremlin would love that quote. Like that is just so. And she is the gremlin queen.
She's the gremlin queen.
She births the
She,
gremlin.
yes, she reigns over her little
Hey,
gremlin
gremlin.
empire.
It's not the Cobalt Empire. It's the Gremlin Empire.
Yeah, we all think we're waiting for the Cobalt Empire series announcement. It's the Gremlin series announcement.
That's why it hasn't happened yet. We've been calling it the wrong name.
But yeah, so that's the first time we see Rose calling children gremlins. It will not be the last.
Icon. Like she is
Iconic.
such an icon.
This is Lily's point of view. So it's again, we're just watching her, watching everybody else. And she's just like seeing Rose and Connor interacting, and Lo kind of like, it's Rose, Connor, and Lo interacting together. And then she looks over and she sees Reich and Daisy flirting. And this is where things get a little dicey because all of a sudden she starts to feel aroused
Mm-hmm.
by something that Reich does. And it's like, no, 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 no.
Yeah,
You
like
do
she
not get
is
aroused
like
by Reich
she is
Meadows.
so disgusted with herself, and she's so like she gets so down on herself for this,
Yes,
and
so
like
down.
Lowe sees it, and he does not look happy.
No, he doesn't. And he's also mean. He's like, your cookies are burning to Reich. And Reich's
Yeah,
like, oh, fuck, what?
he's like, you
Really?
know,
But yeah, so that's like not a good indication of where Lowe's headspace is at right now.
and also like from Lily's interpretation of it, she thinks Lo is so mad at her because she knows like Lo saw her reaction, and so she's like, oh my god, like he's gonna think the worst of me. And like I'm sorry,
Mhm.
when in Lauren Hill's life has he ever thought the worst of Lily? And so like Lily's just like spiraling in her head over this.
She's fully spiraling right now. Um, and it's and Reich can kind of see that something's going on too, and he tries to talk to her, and she actually verbalized like, "Stay away from me."
Yeah, which like would cut right to the core because like
Yes.
Lily's like his sister.
Yeah, they've really developed like a very deep friendship at this point.
Yeah.
He has been there since the very beginning, and he was there when Lo was not.
Yeah, and
Like,
he cares very deeply about her and like he
yeah,
feels very protective over her. And so for her to do that like really just hurts him.
yeah, and he's over here like really trying to make sure that their friendship stays intact, and he's
Mhm.
bringing up the fact like these. I think he brings up the threesome rumors, and like you need to not let that.
Get to you.
Yeah. Like, I don't care about them. I don't care about these rumors. You need to not care about them either. They're kind of fighting back and forth, and Lo is
Meanwhile, he has like
watching all of
no
this and
idea.
really not saying anything. She still does
Well,
not know.
because he's also whispering to Connor. Like
Yes,
he's not
he's
saying anything, but he's talking to Connor.
yeah.
Like
Um
like whispering like in their ears and like that's also stressing Lily out. And like Lily's like watching that, like trying to like
and having this
ignore Reich and
yeah.
like Lo comes up and is like talking to her and like trying to like be like it's okay
Yeah,
like
he gives
you're
her a
okay.
hug, and she
Yeah,
she tells him she only loves him, which he knows.
yeah.
100%.
And
Um
then Connor comes up behind her.
and it's not Connor, but it's this idea of
Of, like a
just
guy
being
behind
between
her.
two bodies,
Yeah,
and it's getting her even more aroused. And she's like, "Oh my God, Connor, not freaking Connor."
yeah. Like Connor's the kind of person like she has like never like
Not
fantasized
once.
about not once. Like he is very much like untouchable to her addiction in that regard.
Yeah,
And like her intrusive thoughts. And then like when it happens, she just like crumbles.
yeah. It's
And
it's
and Lo tries to like soothe her and he's like, we're gonna be back. Like he takes her up the stairs. But before they can get up the stairs, Jonathan fucking Hill comes and he's like, meeting.
yeah. Time for a freaking meeting. Yeah. So Lo is over here like, can you give me 2 minutes so that I can talk with Lily, or like Lily doesn't need to be involved right now. Jonathan's like, no, right fucking now. We're gonna talk.
You follow me.
But before they like officially go down, Lo does tell Lily like he's trying so hard. What you're feeling, but Lo tells Lily what she's feeling is normal. It's
So
like
normal.
she cannot be afraid of.
He's so
She
afraid
feels
she's gonna like lock herself in the house again.
yeah. He's fearful that she's going to be afraid of the world. She's going to be afraid of herself,
Yeah.
like just existing in her own body and her thoughts, the way her thoughts are going. It's like you can't be afraid of where your headspace is in this situation. Like it's so he's really trying to get that through her head.
Like he's like, it's
Um
not what your mind is making you believe it to be. Like it's
right.
really
It's
just
not yeah, you're not disgusting for thinking
no.
this.
Like you're fine. Like you're more than fine. You're perfect. You're normal. Like nothing about this is wrong. But like she can't let it go.
Yeah. But like that's the most they can talk about before they
Like
have to go to
Jonathan's like,
this meeting.
Lauren. Lauren
Freaking Jonathan.
ruins everything.
So it's supposed to be a meeting with Lo, Reich, Lily, and Daisy and Jonathan.
Well, well, well.
And Rose and Connor sit down, and Jonathan's like, "Not you two. You weren't invited to the party." And
Let's also keep in mind, Connor and Rose are being left out of things, and they're tired of it.
they're so tired of it. So
Like
they're like,
you,
"No, we're
like
not
the
fucking going."
geniuses are not included, and like knowing, like having information. Like they're just like, you're not doing this in my house.
Yeah, you're bringing this to our territory. Yeah, we're gonna be fucking involved. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
And like, I mean, honestly, it's totally fine. Like, there was no reason for secrecy because they were gonna know
Of
anyway.
course, yeah, they were gonna tell them
Like,
anyway.
yeah,
Might as
like
well
it
hear
makes.
it from the source. So yeah, it. But there's like this standoff between
There's like really thick tension between Connor
and Jonathan,
Jonathan, and like no
where
one knows really why, but like they're talking and like there's like underlying meanings to like their interaction, like to like their words and stuff. Like Jonathan says something,
hmm
and Connor just like Connor is Connor and is unaffected, but like there's something underlying about Jonathan's like
yeah,
words.
yeah, because Reich defends Connor.
Like saying like he can stay. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
and Jonathan's like, I understand why you like Reich. What'd you call him the other day? Your attack dog. But what's Lauren to you? Lowe's a college dropout, has failed at every athletic sport he's tried. He's not smart or strong. Frankly, he's a goddamn liability. So what use is he to you? He like,
And Connor's like, he's my best friend.
yeah, he's my best
Duh.
friend. Of course he is. But yeah, so there's just tension between. It's very important that we note this tension between the two of them. They're very.
It will come into play
Yes.
more.
These are two very dominant men that are very used to getting what they want.
Yeah.
And honestly, one of them is a hell of a lot smarter.
Hmm.
Um,
One's a lot angrier though.
yes, one has a lot more anger and a lot more time on his
And a
hands.
lot more petty.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. That's a discussion for some for another book.
That'll be the next podcast book.
Yeah, something to remember for Fuel the Fire. No spoilers though.
No, it's just a Connor and Rose book, so you'll be in Connor's head more.
But anyway,
Good night,
Jonathan
Rose.
then starts telling all the four that he originally called this meeting for. He starts telling them all of these things about themselves, and it's basic. It sounds like what the public thinks of them. That Lily is shy, awkward. That Reich is brash and coarse and foul-mouthed. That Daisy is wild, and then he turns to Lo, and Lo's like, "Fuck, I don't want to hear about what these people have to say." And then Jonathan's like, "I really had to work to get them to say something nice about you." And then it's like, "What's that?"
No, to be honest about you.
Yes, to be honest. Yeah,
Like
it was. I want
you
an
didn't
honest.
want to tell me your they didn't want to tell me your actual like their actual opinions of you. I had to like coax it out of them.
Yeah, well, so then this is like, who the fuck are these people then? If
Yeah.
this isn't just
You
like the
know them
general
personally?
public. Yeah, yeah. And that's when Jonathan reveals that the people that are saying this are the 14 people on the board of
Or
directors for Haleco.
mhm.
Uh, and it comes out that the board wants, I'm very animated right now. The board wants
Jonathan
Jonathan to,
doesn't anyone.
they want Jonathan to step down as CEO and for him to name a successor because his reputation has been fully tainted by this molestation rumor. There's just they have at this point Reich has gone to the media and said, no, there's no way my dad ever molested my brother. And for the most part, it's not like the media has taken it as not true, but Jonathan's reputation is still very stained
It just
because of
affects
it.
the business, and so
Yeah.
the board
It's
of
a
directors is like you need to step down, and
it's a
Jonathan doesn't want to give up because his dad started or his grandpa started. Like it's been in the Hale family for a while, for a couple
I know, yeah.
generations. And so he's like, I don't want to hand this to like some like Ivy grad or whatever he
Right.
says. And he goes,
And
I'd
also
rather
they
it,
would lose shares too. It was
yeah.
like
And he's like, I want it to be someone in the family. And Reich's like, well, then why is Daisy involved? She's not my wife. She's just my girlfriend.
yeah.
And he was like, she's a
I
Callaway.
Yeah, and it's also that he's not actually in charge of naming who the successor is. He can just
Hmm.
give them options, and it's actually going to be the board of directors that decides who the CEO position is going to go to.
Yeah, the
So
four
they
of
have
them
to,
have to compete
yeah,
against each other.
yeah, and
And
it's
no one, like, everyone's doing it because they don't
nobody
want the
wants
other
it.
person to do it. Yeah, no one wants
Yeah,
it, but they all agree to do it because they're all like Daisy's like, I don't want you to, like to write. She goes like, you would hate it. Like I don't want you to do it. He goes, you would hate it. I don't want you to do it. Like you'd be in a cubicle all day. And then Jonathan goes, I have the best window view of Philly. She can just jump out the window. And everyone's like, shut up.
stop point.
And like Lauren like has like Lo has a moment of being like, I would have said that at one point, and he goes, I
Yeah,
wouldn't now, but like I would. And then like Lo has never wanted to run his dad's company. Like he
no,
likes his comic like company. Like he's established, he's doing well, but Lily's like, I can do it. And he's like,
yeah.
absolutely not. You're about to have a baby. And she goes, I don't want you to have it. And he's like,
Yeah, you have
well,
your
I don't.
comic book company and you
Yeah.
are still like
Like
you only relapsed a little while ago.
yeah, and she's like, I can do it. Like, I don't have as much responsibilities with you. Like, because they're like, well, you run superheroes and scones. And like, Jonathan's like, hire a manager, like, outsource, delegate, all this stuff, like, whatever. And so Lily's like, I will do it so he doesn't do it. And they're like, they're all very seriously engaged in it, but not because
Yeah.
anyone wants it, but because they don't want the person that they love to get it. And like, Reich doesn't want Lo to do it because Lo would hate it. Lo doesn't want Reich to do it because Reich's never wanted anything to do with it. And so they're all basically competing to lose.
Yeah. And this is also in Lowe's POV, but
Mhm.
because he is the only actual Hale that is competing, there is some part of him that's like, I don't want this. I don't want anyone else to have, like, I don't want anyone else to suffer with this. I'm going to take the selfless route one time and actually put in the effort, and I'm going to take this position because
Mhm.
I don't want anyone else to suffer. This is going to be my thing.
No,
No
and
one
like
else
he
is,
the chapter ends like the last two lines of the chapter I think are
yeah.
like really powerful
It's
because he's like,
would endure hell for eternity if it meant that I could go to heaven. Once
yeah.
upon a time, I think I would have let him. Not anymore. He deserves this paradise. So I'll fight against my brother. I'll fight Lily and Daisy for this position. The winner is the loser, and this cage has my name on it.
That part also made me cry, and as you were reading, I was getting teary eyed again. I was like, whoa! Like I just think my brother would endure hell for me to like go to heaven. It's
Yeah.
just such like a beautiful like line, and it encompasses like their relationship so much. And like Lo is finally like recognizing that like he doesn't have to let his brother go through hell.
Mm-mm.
Like his brother deserves as much happiness as like his brother's fought for Lo to have.
As hard
And
as
like
Reich has fought for Lowe, Lowe's gonna fight hard for Reich now.
because he can like he's not like in that like petty vindictive like angry
Mm-mm.
mindset that he was in like the earlier books, and so he's like it just again like he's just so strong in this book. And like I know he's not a real person but he is a real
He
person.
feels like a real person,
And
damn it.
he is so strong in this book, and it's just like I'm so proud of him because like I think it's even in this chapter too. He's like, I can handle this, like I can do
Yes.
this. And like they're
Yeah.
all like, no you can't. He's no, I can, like
You need to
watch
believe
me.
in me.
Yeah. And like ugh, but yeah, like it's just
Yeah.
ugh.
It's so good. So the next chapter, the guys are all collecting bags. That was something that got missed, but
Oh yeah,
Daisy
they're
wound up taking a phone call from her mom about her birthday plans, and the plan is that they're all going to take the yacht to Mexico for Daisy's birthday, like the Hales
AKA
and the
Daisy didn't
Towers.
plan her birthday and Samantha did it for her.
Yeah, thanks.
Which is an important note. Keep in mind. Keep that in the back of your mind for a second.
So the guys are all collecting everybody's bags for this birthday trip. It's the three of them, they're all talking about sex. And Lo shares that it's one of those things where if Connor asks Lo, like, did you have sex with Lily? Connor has to share something in return. So it's like this whole thing where they need to all be on the same page. That was something I
Mhm.
do like that it was something where in Thrive it was a lot of like everyone kind of stepping over these boundaries that Lily and Lo were placing around their sex life, that everybody, it was almost like everyone was trying to be in bed with Lily and Lo when in actuality it's like it's Lily and Lo's sex life. No one else should be in their bed but them. So I do like that now it's a, if you want to know what's going on with Lily and me and our sex life, then I need to know what's going on with you and your sex life. There needs to be
Yeah.
a little bit more open communication and more
And it
like,
feels more like a natural, like, it feels like more something like people would do,
yeah.
like close friends would do,
Yeah, it needs to feel
versus like,
more genuine and
yeah,
less like you're just checking in on me.
like you're waiting for me to screw up.
Yeah. So that's what they're doing here. And in his head, Lo is thinking that he did wind up having sex with Lily, but they're asking this after she had her low moment when they were making the cookies. So Lo is saying that they waited a full 24 hours before they did have sex after she had her low period. So there was no like medicating her anxiety with sex. And she only came once. And then she said, no more. They both said that was it. And he's so proud of her for having this control of like, no, I'm not medicating my anxiety with sex. I can say no to multiple orgasms. Like I can set these boundaries and actually stick to them. And he's
Hmm.
smiling to himself and Reich and Connor like, oh, okay, so the sex must be good. And he's over here like, no, I'm just really proud of Lily.
I'm so proud of her. It's like she's so strong.
Yes, it's so sweet. I love that. But then as Lo and Reich exit the house, Reich steps in a bag of dog shit.
From, you guessed it, their
Shithead
favorite
teenagers
neighbors.
are unfriendly neighborhood teenagers. Lo is worried right now because like they're continuing to prank them. I think this is the third prank that
On
we've seen,
page.
yeah,
Yeah.
on page from these kids, and it's like, when are they gonna stop? And they're about to
Is
have
this the
babies.
moment where they're like, we're about to have kids in this
Hmm.
place?
Yeah.
Like,
Lowe's like, we're about to have babies in the house. Like, what are we gonna do then? And it's
yeah.
no, they're not. They won't ever come into the house. Like, the
Hmm.
house is a safe space. And Connor reiterates that at this point they can't confront them. They just can't cause too much drama and try and call the cops or retaliate in any form. This is just something they have to suck up and deal with right now.
Hmm.
So then I just realized that it's chapter 14, and I'm fairly certain it's chapter 14 in Addicted to You that this also happens. I'd have to check. I think I can check really fast. Yes, it is chapter 14 in Addicted to You. That I love that. So we're in chapter 14. Lily and Lo are on the boat.
Oh, I was like, where are we going with this?
Yeah, no, Lily and Lo are on the boat, and
And then because they also like, they also reference that chapter.
they do. It's the same chapter.
Oh my god,
That must
wizards.
have.
Further
I hope that
proof.
was on purpose. But
Further
yeah,
proof. Krista and Becca
yes,
are wizards. Ward
they
wizards.
are true wizards.
They
Powerful,
are the
powerful.
truest.
But yeah, so they're on the yacht, sailing around Puerto Vallarta in Mexico for this trip. But it's the same yacht, same boat, same room that they were in Addicted to You. So they're like holding each other on the boat, and Lily looks at Lo and she goes, "You're a man." He's like, "Yeah, I'm a man. What are you talking about?"
Isn't this the scene too where like it starts off with like, or do we go to? Is it still in Lowe's POV? Because I know there's a scene on
It's
the boat where
Lily's
like
POV.
Lily's like hugging the furniture.
Yes. She's
It's a
so,
little
yeah, she's
turbulent
like
scene.
swaying all over the place. And Lo's like, the boat's not rocking that badly. And she's like,
And she's like hugging this like armoire for like dear
yes,
life.
yes,
And Lo's like, it's fine. We're fine. She goes,
you're
we
totally
could be
fine.
thinking. And he's like, no,
Yes.
we're fine.
She's also a little worried too, because she had just been seeing these polls asking whether Lily would be a good mom or not, and they were like strongly in favor of her not being a good mom. So she's over
Just
here
rude.
like, where are the life vests? I think I need to go over the emergency like safety procedures again just so that we're all good.
She's like, Rose probably already knows them.
Poor Lily.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then Lo's like, "No, you're fine. We're fine. Everything's fine right now." He hugs her, and this is where she like stops for a moment and looks at him, and she's like,
Yeah.
he looks strong." She says that it's not the way he looks. It's just there's something else about him that's like, you're a man and you're strong. He's stronger
He's
and sturdier.
changing. He's
Yeah.
evolving.
But they then remember how the two of them started romantically. He's like, "Do you remember how we started?" And she's like, I think we were like 5 or 6 or something like that." He's like, "No, no, not that. Too far back. More
Coming
romantically
closer.
than that." Yeah, yeah. So 4 years ago, they were in the same room on the same boat, same
And
chapter
he
of
was
the
like,
book.
let me try and be enough for you.
Yes,
And I
and
cry. I cry so
oh,
hard.
well, it's he asked her to be his girlfriend for real, and he's like, "And then I fucked you." And they again have sex like they did, and at the very end, she can see it in his eyes when he looks at her, and she's like, "Yes, Lauren Hale, you're enough for me." So good.
Well, it's also so poignant that like I'm on this episode from like Ricochet. Because we were
Yeah.
talking about that a lot where she was like, I want to be enough for Lauren Hale. Like, Lauren Hale, or like, Lauren Hale is enough for me. Like, I don't need anyone else. Like, Lauren Hale is it, like, end all be all kind of thing. And,
Yeah.
like, she got
She
there.
stuck with it. Yeah.
She got there. Like, her greatest, like, one of her greatest fears. And she overcame it.
Yeah. Not,
We love
yes.
you. We love
We're
you,
so proud
Lo.
of you.
We love you, baby Moffy.
Yes.
Who's just chilling.
Yes. He's doing
He's
his
just
little thing in
growing.
there. Yeah, he's just growing, making sure he's going
Just
to be a
growing.
strong superhero when he comes out.
Yeah.
It's fine. So the next day,
I'm sorry. I'm just
Lily,
thinking of this scene.
I love this scene. This is like one of those Roman Empire moments for me. I don't know why.
Rose on the boat is just my Roman
Yes.
Empire. Like she's
Yes.
just like
So it's the next day. Lily and Lo had been in their cabin the night before, so they missed out on some drama, which is basically that Greg was super upset that Reich and Daisy were going to share a cabin on the boat. And everyone was like, "Why are you going to be mad? Like, they sleep in the same bedroom at home." And he's like, "They do what now?"
he's like
It's
they were like apparently he was under the impression that they slept in separate rooms.
like,
Oh Greg. Oh
Greg,
Gregory.
Greg. Come on now.
And
That's
like Lily's like he's never had a problem with Lo and they all just like look they're like it's Lo. Like
yeah,
Lo is the
it's
exception. And then like she's also like, well, they never had a problem with Connor, and like it's Connor.
yeah.
Like try telling that man what to do, but Poppy was like, no, like he did this with Sam, and
Yep.
like that's not the comparison you want.
No, you don't want to be. You don't want to be the same. Yeah, it also sucks because it's like Daisy's freaking birthday weekend, and her dad's over here like,
Yeah,
"No, you're not allowed to
no,
sleep with your boyfriend on this cap." Like, fuck you, Greg.
no, like also because like Greg, you don't get to be a parent now.
No, truly,
Also,
you
she's
were.
19. Like
Where were
she's
you
not
when
even
she
like.
was like doing drugs and being around all of these older men as a model?
Well, I think they also bring that up. Like now he cares. Like now he
Right.
is
Yes.
gonna have a
Yes.
say.
Rose does say it's very condescending how he's treating
Yeah.
her.
Well,
Um,
and then like so during all this too, like Poppy is
it's
like
rude.
just enjoying a mojito, and Rose is so angry.
I hate you. And
She's like,
Poppy's like, you did the same thing to me when I was pregnant.
and Rose is like, does it taste good? She goes, not really. No, it could be better. She goes, I like you a little more now.
Thank you. But so poor Lily is like kind of surrounded. So you step out onto the back deck, and
Mm-hmm.
Lily looks out onto the pool deck, and she's like, "Oh, there's a guy with an 8 pack.
Eight.
Oh, mm." And Rose comes out and she's like, his body's disgusting. And she starts shouting at him. And Lily's like, oh my God, fucking Connor? I was just oogling Connor?
She's like, I don't know who that is. Who is that? And she is just, again, devastatingly distraught. Like, she's like, what is happening?
Yeah. But then immediately after that, I don't know, this is one of my Roman Empire moments. Rose is like fighting with Connor and she looks queasy. And then
Yes, I
just
love this moment.
she steps back and books it into the boat because she needs to go puke. Because she's also, one, they're on a boat in seasickness, but two, she's the one between Lily and Rose. Rose is the one that's been suffering from morning sickness. And then Connor gets up and runs after her. There's just something about like,
Yeah, like
I
he
don't.
books it after her. Like, it's a
Yeah.
very human moment for both of them. And I think that's also why, like,
Yeah, you don't see the two of them ill or
vulnerable.
yeah,
Yeah.
and having him just like drop everything and run after her, I
Like, the
love it.
concern is just like, ugh,
Yeah, he doesn't even,
it's
he says nothing to any of them. He's just like, I gotta go
yeah,
take care
like
of
his
Rose.
world is running away and he has to go after her.
So then after that, Reich comes up and he's flirting with Daisy while Lily's standing next to them, and she's like, fuck, another
She goes,
guy,
I have to go. I can't be
another
here. I can't
shirtless
be.
guy in a swimsuit. Can't
Not
deal
even
with
just another
this.
shirtless guy, it's Reich, who she's having like problems with in her
Yeah,
mind. Because it's freaking her out so much, like her brain keeps giving them to her.
yeah. So she's like, you know what? I'm gonna jump into the pool. I'm gonna have like a cool down right now. And she goes flapping into the pool and she's like, it's warm. Why is
It's
the water
warm.
warm?
She was that was not helpful.
No. And then Lo is also out on the pool deck too. So he's kind of witnessing some of this. And he comes over to the edge of the pool and he goes, Lily Calloway, you're doing really well. I'm proud of you.
Just all the positive words of affirmation.
Yes.
Just keep them coming.
He's gonna be her
Keep
strong
them
pillar
coming.
and her cheerleader, her number one cheerleader.
Like he is like oh, they're just so good together.
Yeah, and then at one point they're like talking about. He's like, imagine all of the guys are just like these really gross. I think he calls them
You know,
dwarves.
like everyone on the boat is gross, or they have hobbit feet,
Yes.
really hairy hobbit feet.
Yes. And she wonders what he is, if he's like some gorgeous elf or wizard, and he's like, no, no, I'm a human. And then she's like, if we're both human, could Maximoff maybe still have superpowers? And he's like, yeah, he'll be the strongest guy ever. And she goes, well, do you think he'll forget about us when he's a strong, powerful superhero? And Lo's just like, we'll have to wait and see. But I want to sit there and be like, oh my God,
He
the
like
way
no like I'm like, again
this,
this is one of the scenes that like was making me cry, and I'm like if only you guys knew how much your son will never forget you. Like the way he just you guys like and the way he sees them as his superheroes, like I'm like this scene made me cry too. 'Cause I'm like you have no idea what's waiting for you. Like this little boy is going to
loves you
love
guys
you.
so hard.
He's gonna love you in ways you guys have never been loved before, and he's gonna idolize you in ways you've never known you could be idolized. And it's just he's gonna be like such a pillar for you guys, and it's just it makes me emotional now. Like I love him. I love them so much.
This little family. So then Lo goes inside to get water, and Lily sits on the pool deck with Rose and Connor. And again, just another Rose is sitting on like one of the chaise, and she's got a bucket
A
in her
bucket.
lap. And Connor is over here just like rubbing her neck.
He was like
And he's
determined
trying-
she wasn't gonna be left out anymore, so she comes out with a bucket.
Yeah, so she's over here like making sure she's not puking. And
Yeah.
Lily's like looking at the internet, and all of a sudden she hears Rose be like, Connor. And Connor reaches over and steals her phone from her. And she's like, that was unnecessary. He goes, my wife was gonna do it if I didn't, and I need her
And I
to
don't
like
want her to
just
get sick.
yeah, she just needs to stay still right now.
Yeah.
So then he gives Rose the phone, and she's looking through it, and they realize that Lily has
Lily makes a
started a
Twitter.
Twitter. She's created a
Hmm.
Twitter account for herself.
And this is one of my favorite Lily Calloway moments because she is so proud of herself.
So proud, so earnest about this whole thing where
Okay, so she makes a Twitter profile and she's like, I'm gonna put to rest these crazy rumors. Because
yes,
during the scene, too, Reich and Daisy are on the edge of the ship, like where the railing is. They're on the they're on the other side of it, hanging on. So they're like, they could be dangling off the boat if they weren't
yes,
sitting on the guardrail. And Lily's just like reminiscing about how perfect they are. And then so she makes a Twitter account and she has 3 tweets.
yes.
And she goes, the first one is, "This is the official Instagram Twitter account of Lily Calloway." And she goes, just to
Hooray!
introduce myself. Yeah,
I love the
just to
hooray at
introduce
the end of
myself.
it.
She is so proud. And then the second one and the third one are both about Razy and talking about how perfect they are. And she goes, "I did it. I did it. I put it to rest. The Razy rumors are true. Razy is real. The publicist should thank me." Like, she is so confident. And I love her so much because she alone thought she could defeat this when all the all of like her family's like publicity team was like, "Do not do this. Like, this is not what it needs." And she goes, "No, no, no, no. You don't understand. This is what it needs. And
So
I
then,
alone will
yes,
be responsible for it."
I'm gonna do your goddamn job for you. Come on now.
She's like, I'm shocked they didn't think this could work. It's already working because I said it, so it's working.
After that, so Connor and Rose are seeing this, and Connor's like, Lily, it sort of seems like you're trying too hard. Does that
Too
make sense?
hard.
And Rose is like, she understands. You don't have to talk down to her. And Lily's over here like, I don't understand what's happening.
What do you
Why?
mean?
Why is it bad? Why does she think that I don't understand?
And then she's like, I did a good thing. Like, it's working. And then he's like, you need to tweet more, like just like of other things, so you don't look like you're trying too hard. But
Yes.
they took her
And
phone.
she's
How
like,
can they tweet more? They took her phone.
it's the you need to tweet more then because the way this comes across, it makes it look like you're trying to cover up something. That's not what I was trying to do. I know.
Yeah.
I know, and other people will believe you. And in his head, he's like, and so many others are not going to believe you.
He's like, it's not gonna work out the way you want, you sweet cherub.
It's like he says it so quickly, and you're like, oh, Connor placating her, not what we want.
Yeah, Connor's just like, it's fine, it's not fine, it's not fine. But like, I just love how like Lily is so proud in this moment. She goes, "I
I know.
solved."
I've solved the
Like,
problem. Razy is alive. Threesome rumors are dead. Hooray.
she goes, "I can carry on. Love is real."
Yes. And then the end of the chapter, Lo comes back out. Reich and Daisy are still on the edge of the boat, and Reich playfully shoves Daisy off the boat, and Greg sees, and he's like, Reich, what are you doing? Because she also still has her cast on at this point, too.
Mhm.
So he's like, he's mad that she came back hurt from the Costa Rica trip. He's just really irritated with Reich
He
at
just
this
doesn't like
point.
Right.
And
No,
he's
and
like,
Right is like
Reich
the
does not
man
care. He
wanted.
literally jumps off the boat as like
Mid
a
Greg argument. Like, Greg is like in the middle of talking and he like jumps off the boat. Like, I mean, this is also like he's like in his like mid-20s, like getting lectured for like dating his girlfriend. Like, like
right.
Reich is not the kind of person who likes to be told no. Like, he can't do something, rather. Like,
Yeah.
so like, and he's trying
He
really
is.
hard.
Yeah, he's like, can we please start
Like,
over? And Greg's like, no, not at this point. And
no.
it's just like,
And so then like you're like Reich's like, okay, then
yeah.
I'm gonna jump off this boat.
And then Greg comes down, and Lo and Connor are like, hey, Greg, what's
Like,
going on?
they're just like, nothing to see here. They're like the penguins from Madagascar.
There's just something
Smile and
about
wave,
like
boys.
picture
Just
the
smile
two
and
of them,
wave.
like, hey, Greg, no problems here. But
And
then
like Lily's like, I just do that.
I know. But at the end, they note that Greg
Yeah.
is so frustrated with Reich's behavior and that he's not conforming to the way that Greg wants him to act. And Connor says, some people are better as they are. And Lily's like, oh my God, Connor just said that? Connor?
Connor.
It's
And like,
Greg. Oh my
I think
God.
that's just such like a nice little moment for like
Yeah.
Connor and Mike's friendship because like it's so different. It's more antagonistic than
Yeah.
Lo and Connor's friendship that like you're always like, well, where does like how does Connor really feel about Reich? Like
Yeah,
kind of thing.
it's so different between Lo and Connor, and then also Lo and
Yeah.
Reich, because Lo and Reich can be
Mhm.
pretty antagonistic, but they're brothers, and like they'll always be
Yeah, like they have
connected.
that
And
brotherly
there's
thing.
yeah, there's just this weird connection between Reich and Connor where it's just sort of like, are you guys just sort of friends because of circumstance, or is
Hmm.
there something more that you see in each other? And no, there is more. Connor's over here
There is more.
saying it.
I really like it too when like they talk to each other in different languages. Like just the two of them.
Yes.
Like it's really fun.
Yeah, I think it's later where they're speaking in French and then they remember that he does, and then I can't remember how it comes up,
So
but
just
then
the
Reich starts
Italian.
speaking to him in Italian, and Connor's like, "Ooh, yeah, yeah." There's, I think one of them says like Connor's eyes light up, like, "Ooh, yes, I can speak to him in Italian. This is fun."
Okay.
All right, it's like nighttime. Lo is kind of having trouble falling asleep, and he's thinking about like the fact that despite the four of them needing to compete and earn favor with the board of directors,
Hmm.
the he can tell that Jonathan is like really trying to give him a leg up. Jonathan's giving him all the notes on all of the different directors and like what your in is with all of them. So he can tell that like his dad has a preference for who he wants
Yeah.
to be the CEO, and it's Lo. And Lo is just really worried about how these board of directors are going to perceive him. That he's an alcoholic, that he's a college dropout, that he's angry and petty. But he says, I don't want my son to grow up and have these same impressions of me. I want to be known for more than all of that. Once again, Lo, I promise. I've seen into the future,
No,
and I can
just you
promise
wait,
you,
buddy.
yes, the future is
We've
bright.
seen into we have our crystal balls. Like our crystal balls say all signs point to happiness.
Yes. Um, but he can't turn his mind off thinking about this. And he thinks about how only a few years ago he would have turned to a bottle of alcohol to kind of shut off his thoughts. But this time he gets up and he goes to Reich's bedroom. And Reich is currently awake. He notes that Reich has some
Hmm.
crazy sleep schedule because partially because of Daisy, but also because of his just lifestyle. He's either getting up super early to go somewhere or he came in really late from somewhere else. And
Yeah.
yeah. But so Reich's awake right now and he can see that he's reading this book. I think it's The Sun Also Rises.
Well, I was like, that's not what the book says. And he
Yeah.
goes, it's in Spanish.
Yes,
Yeah.
Reich is reading in Spanish and he kind of gets a little like, why are you downplaying your intelligence? Like you're fluent enough in Spanish that you can just read for pleasure in a different language.
Hmm.
Just, but he wants to talk with Reich about this competition. He really wants Reich to drop out. He's like, just give it to me. I'm the Hale. It should be mine. You don't fit into the corporate world at all. And Reich is like, no, I'm not going to give it to you.
He will protect
He
his
doesn't,
brother.
yeah, he thinks that Lo is, which Lo kind of is. There's this mindset of, well, Jonathan gave me so much. He was the only parent that wanted me, and he's essentially the reason that I don't remember if it's mentioned that Emily wanted an abortion.
Yes, and look, because Reich's like just because he did it, it's not mentioned like the word abortion doesn't appear on the page, but he's like he kept me, and
Yeah,
he goes, but that's not something that he gets to use to hold. Like he
against.
doesn't get to hold
Yes.
that over you for the rest of your life. Like
No.
you do have your own choices, and he goes, I want you to like, and like Reich's entire like thing is he wants Lo to like choose himself instead
Yeah.
of their dad,
Yes.
and like but in like in a way like this entire like Lowe's entire journey with this like competition,
Hmm.
like let's just call it that, is kind of it kind of is because he's like learning more about himself,
Yeah.
about like what he can and can't handle,
Yes.
but like he so Reich refuses to drop out And
Yeah.
Lo is like, okay, so he tries another tactic and he goes, okay, so let's team up and get the girls
Yes.
to drop out. Because
Yeah.
they can both agree that they don't want Lily
100%.
or Daisy
No.
to be a
It's
part of
gonna come.
it.
Yeah, it's gonna come down
Yeah.
to the two of them, if anything.
Yeah.
Yes. So
And so like he's like, okay, but like what happens when it's you versus me? And he goes, Whatever. Like he's just like, I'm gonna win. But
but yeah,
to
he
get right
is.
to agree, he's like,
Yeah.
we'll
It's
come
so
to like
sweet
we'll
though.
get there.
He's like, why do you want to work with me? Because you're my brother, and I'd rather be with you than against you.
That is also like another big moment from like where we first like meet them.
So huge,
And
especially
like
after like where we met them after their big blowout fight at the end of Hot House Flower and Thrive. Like they were very much on opposing sides and just could not see eye to eye and fighting, and yeah, to come to this just a few months later, I want to be on your side. And it's like this is
because
where
you're
we
my
could have been
brother.
the whole time if you two were just
Yeah.
more open with each other and talked. We could have had
Seriously.
these cute
Like
moments.
communicate, boys. I also don't know if it's
Truly.
in this chapter, but like I do like I don't know if we've reached this point in the book, but like I love it when Wright calls Lo his little brother. Like it is
Yeah.
just such a sweet little moment.
So
And
such a sweet endearment.
he's like little brother and I'm like crying.
I love them. Yes.
Oh,
And
it's
then
just so nice.
yeah, it's so nice to see them on the same side and being especially in this moment where it's like, all right, fine, it's gonna be Jonathan Hale's sons. It's not like the Hale
Hmm.
siblings, but it's like Jonathan Hale's sons are gonna be the ones to run
Duke
his
it out.
company. They're gonna be the team to beat.
Yeah.
But then the chapter ends with Daisy. She walks into Reich's bedroom, and it's very clear that she's sleepwalking, which is a new side effect to these meds that the doctor put her on. And she climbs into Reich's bed, and he puts her to sleep, and he's like, Greg's not going to be happy that Daisy. It's going to be very clear that Daisy didn't sleep in her bed, and he's going to know that she slept in my bedroom, and like he's just going to cause bigger issues. And Lo's like, well, you're fine. We'll tell Greg
I'll
that
just
she came and slept in Lily's bedroom. And it's
well, like
like,
yeah.
it's just one of those moments where, yeah, this is what it's like when we're on the same team. I will do what I can to stick up for you and
Hmm.
like be in your corner. I know how to fight in your corner and I will be that person for you. We're on the same side. This is what it's like. We could have been enjoying this the whole time. Once again.
Yeah. Partners instead of adversaries.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to do everything on your own, you know. I can help too. Yeah, you can, Lo. And
Yes,
then
you.
also to note, I think the chapter with there's a surprise. Yeah, tomorrow we're going onshore to Puerto Vallarta. Daisy doesn't know about what Reich planned. Neither do the girls. It'll be a surprise for her birthday, hopefully a good one, which is something
Yes,
that we haven't mentioned, but throughout
yes. I was
the
gonna say like
first,
this is why I told like that's why I was like file this away, and
yes,
then we never brought it back up because when Lily and before Wright comes over a few chapters previously to Lily and Daisy, Daisy at or Lily asked Daisy like, "What did Wright get you for your birthday?" And she was like, "Nothing. Like he's not really like a gift giver. That's not his thing." And even before that,
it was,
Rose was like on
yeah.
his case about getting her a present. And like
It
Reich
was
and
just
Daisy,
Valentine's Day, and she's like, "You gotta
yeah.
get her gifts for both of them. What are you talking about?"
Well, and it's not like Reich would not like he wouldn't like not get her a present, but him and Daisy actually like, and I don't know why this is just clicking for me, have like very similar parallels to Lily and Lo in like for obvious like in different facets,
Yeah,
but they're very similar to where like it's really hard for them to open up to people even though they know they have these people are in their corner. It's just like an ingrained like nature to them,
yeah,
so he doesn't like tell the girls that
right.
like what he's planning. But and again, that's really gonna bother Rose.
Rose, yeah, this is something else that's kind of brought up for the first time is that Rose is a huge narcissist when it comes to her birthday. And I think it's
She's
also
planning. She's
mentioned
already
in those
planning it.
chapters that
Yeah,
Connor is not. Something to
Yeah,
file away for later.
that is a very interesting point too. Like, so Rose is like planning her birthday 6 months out, and Connor just could not care to celebrate his birthday. She goes, out of 364 days are not about me, I'm gonna go like basically balls to the wall with like her birthday for one day. Like it's gonna be all about her. She goes, "Are you kidding me? This is my dream." And so, but when like Lily's very upset that Reich did not get Daisy a present on her actual birthday because she's
Yes.
like Rose had been reminding him and sending him like all these reminders and stuff like that. And like it just makes her sad because like she wants this is it also should be mentioned like all of them are also like waiting for them to like break up. Like none of them think they're act like Lily
Yes.
probably thinks like they're most like they're gonna last. Like she wants them to last, but everyone else is basically waiting for them to break up. Which rude, 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 rude.
There's also a moment too where Lily asks her, Daisy, like, "What did he get you for your birthday?" And she's like,
Yeah,
"He didn't get me anything. It's okay. It's
yeah,
I think she would be okay, but it does almost seem like she's
yeah.
slightly
I think
disappointed."
well because like I think because he's done all these gestures for her like that aren't for her birthday.
Yeah.
I
Where you
think she
think,
was like yeah that like it makes her like she's like well I mean because like not getting a present on your birthday from your significant other would be very like upsetting even if you're okay with it would still be like but okay like
like,
like even if she
okay.
told Reich not to get her anything you still get her something that is the
Oh
rule.
yeah. And it's not like the thing is you don't need to get her something extravagant. Like they're not the kind of
No.
people that need diamonds. Sorry, Rose. And extravagant gifts. Just like a small gesture. But yeah,
No.
so the chapter ends with no, no, there is actually something coming for Daisy's birthday.
Yeah,
Don't you worry.
it's just it's a surprise
Yeah. Okay.
and it's a good
Yeah.
surprise.
It is a very good surprise. Okay, so we're going to end part 1 discussion of Addicted After All. We're going to end here and then we'll pick back up next week with part 2. So until then, continue to stay addicted to Krista and Becca's writing like us.